I guess we should say that. Does anybody need like us on our side to make adjustments to mics and stuff? Can you hear me okay, guys?
Yeah, I think we're good. We are actually live right now too, so we got a couple
Okay.
minutes to kind of just move some stuff around.
Is it fine?
I think you're fine. We're just have to be aware if we're talking over each other. I mean, that kind of goes for anything we do, right? Let's let the other people talk, but specifically people that can't be heard as well.
I would recommend you keep an eye on Discord to see who's trying to talk. That way, if like that person's not being heard, you'll see their thing lining up, and
Yep.
you can be like, "What do you want to say?" And you can like maybe quiet everybody else down so they can speak.
Sounds good. We'll make sure we're going. Open my phone. And I think there is a slight delay on what we're doing, but it's very minor.
Are you posting that on Facebook?
Yeah, I'll probably make another post real quick on Facebook. Okay, yeah, we're live. Looks like we're doing good. Get started in just a couple minutes. All right, I think we'll get started. So we are live. This is the first live video of the Cerberus Den, where three heads are better than one. We're gonna play a little Kids on Bikes tonight. We don't really have a set time when we're gonna end. Maybe until either we start falling asleep or everyone gets tired of listening to me talk. Whichever comes first. First thing I want to do is just kind of remind everyone that Kids on Bikes, it's a very rules light role-playing game. What you see on the screen is pretty much what you're going to be seeing most of the time. It's more like a podcast. We're not going to have a lot of videos or dice rolling you'll see on the screen. It's more of just storytelling and talking back and forth, building the world with each other as we go. So just kind of remind everyone once again is the actual rules itself is designed for everyone to have collaboration. There's going to be a lot of improv. Everything we're doing is going to have basically be built as we go. So just kind of keep that in mind that when it comes to the rules, even though it is rules light, it'll probably even be more light than maybe other people are used to in their game, just to keep it, like I said, fun and quick and basically let people do what they want to do. I don't want to hold anyone back if they have a really cool idea and want to do something and there's not a rule for that. We're just going to make it up as we go. as I think people should with all role-playing games. So first thing we'll do is go around the room virtually. We are keeping our distance. Everyone is basically at their own homes playing this game online via Discord. And the first person we have is Tristan, and he goes by TK. TK, you want to talk a little bit about your character?
Sure would. So my character is Tristan Kevin Smith, also going by TK. He's 12 years old. His mother just passed away a year ago, and his father is a local, runs the local car shop, the auto body repair, and he also has the junkyard out back. Tristan helps out around the house a lot, so he helps with his dad's job. He helps in the junkyard. He moves stuff around, but he really likes to tinker with like electronics and computers. He's really interested in computer, but he doesn't own one. But he like takes apart radios and stuff like that. And ever since his mom passed away, his dad's really hit the bottle really hard, so he's become really distant and basically not responsive, kind of cold towards his son. So that's about everything right now. He's just really afraid of becoming his father at this point and having a basically a dead-end job in his eyes, and he doesn't want to be alone.
What about a physical description? What's TK look like?
He's 4'8". He's 12 years old. He has messy brown hair, and he wears like t-shirts, like the ones that are like mainly white with like the solo collar on the side, like blue or green on like the sleeves and neck. I think you all know what I'm talking about.
The classic polo.
Yeah, basic. Not a polo, but like a t-shirt, like the classic 80s t-shirt.
Okay, I got you.
And then he wears either the classic like cotton shorts in the summer, or he wears jeans. And a lot of his clothes are stained because he does work and he does help at in auto body, and he helps in the junkyard. So like it kind of bothers him that he has to have as nice clothes as like the rest of the kids around him.
Okay. All right. How about Leroy?
Leroy's he's 16 years old. Average height and weight for a 16-year-old male. He's got brown hair, wears glasses. His hair is about mid-length for an late 80s grunge rocker type kid. He's always accompanied by his best friend Bella. She's a bloodhound black lab mix. She's about 6 years old, and he's always around her, and she's always been there for him. He is always motivated when it comes to helping people. Like, a lot of people look at him as the grunge kid, but he's actually really friendly and wants to help people all the time. Like, he helps his grandma do a lot of things around the house, and anytime he can help old people, he's there for them. He's always especially there to help his friends. He don't have many, but he's always looking to make new friends. He is a 16-year-old male, so he is, going through the change of life for a 16-year-old boy. So he's a little perverse at times, and he can be absent-minded. But he's, he's not super smart, but he's getting through school because he's, he likes to think he can charm his way and convince the teachers to give him extra time to do all the homework and stuff he needs. But other than that, he's really easygoing, and he's very protective of the people he cares about.
Okay, cool. How about you? Reminded me a little bit of Mouth from Goonies when you were with the charm.
Yeah.
All right. How about Leah?
So she is a 15-year-old girl, red hair, medium heights for her age. Her mom's working all the time. Dad's never home. I haven't seen him for years. So she kind of sticks to herself.
Okay. How about Siobhan? Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So Siobhan's 27-year-old lady who she works as the assistant manager of the hardware team for the local bank. So she works on computers and has been doing that for about 4 years, and she's really bright. Always looks very professional. Kind of a mousy looking woman, very skinny. She's pretty tall. She's about 5'10", tall for a woman. And she looks kind of plain. Like I said, very skinny and very pale because she spends all her time playing computers. And she always comes across as very kind of distant. Like, doesn't really. I mean, she's capable of. She's very professional. How about put it that way?
Okay. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over. Like I said, a lot of what we're going to do is going to be improv, but I obviously do have some stuff prepared. I have some basically some story hooks, things that kind of at least guide you guys in the right direction of. So we don't have to completely start from scratch on everything we do. But one thing I want to.
You missed the character.
I'm sorry, Gus. I'm so sorry. Gus, please tell me about yourself.
Like,
Gus.
right, what's going on?
Wait a minute, we lost someone already? This is the quickest game.
Man.
Sorry, Gus. Go ahead.
So Gus is 16. He's scrappy, average 16-year-old. Hair's always messy. He's always running late for something. He's just always looking, for the next big adventure.
Okay. Outdoors or like troublemaking adventures? What kind of adventures?
Any and all.
Okay. All right. Now we have the whole team. I think I went through my list. I have everyone that's officially here, so we're good. So like I mentioned before, most people in this game are new to playing the game or only played a couple times. So what you'll also be hearing a lot about as we're going through is just reminding people of rules, or just kind of letting people know that here's what you would do if we were playing by, if we were really rule strict and saying this is exactly what you have to do in this situation. But like I said, I wanted the story to kind of drive what we're doing, not necessarily and be held back by a specific rule and say, sorry, you can't do that. The rules say you can't. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over basically just a brief description of what to expect, kind of the world we're in, what's going on around you guys in your town, and then what we're going to do is get to see how you guys know each other. What's very unique about this game that I love very much, and I hope that other people, if nothing else, when they walk away from this game, if they've never heard of this game or if they've played 100 times, is it's relationships. This game is 100% about relationships, and specifically how you guys work together and know each other. And you guys might be familiar with other role-playing games where it starts off and you're in a tavern and no one knows each other and a bar fight erupts, and now for some reason you guys are all best friends and you're willing to go kill a dragon together. That doesn't make a lot of sense. If this was the real world, that definitely wouldn't work, and this game is very much based in the real world. So what we want to do is we want to know how you guys know each other. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through some basically relationship questions and see how you know someone. And what will end up happening as we're going through this is we'll be building more backstory for each other. So the idea is that basically we're going to say, do you know this person? Yes or no? And then something that might be real. It might be a rumor. And we're definitely going to have some fun with it. So we're going to definitely catch some people off guard and throw some off-the-wall stuff and just see how each other react to be able to handle that about their character. So the setting itself, let's kind of go over that. There was only one thing people talked about in the city of Bangor, Maine in the fall of 1987. And that was the new movie being made based on the popular book called Jitters. After a few very successful string of horror novels, J.S. Gore has become the town's celebrity, and everyone keeps talking about him. The town had nothing special to talk about before the big surge of tourism, except for the lumber mills, but with the movie studio starting to film in their town, people from all over the country are there to get a peek at what is sure to be the next big hit. People in town have mixed feelings about the new tourism, and the few hotels have been completely booked for the last few months as a result. The town does not have the resources or the housing to feed all this new tourism, but the mayor assures everyone that it will be fine and it'll put the town on the map, which is what everyone very much wants or doesn't want in their small town. So, like I said, the concept of this is Bangor, Maine. We're definitely more of a smaller town. The concept of Kids on Bikes in general is that people know each other. We're at a time, like I mentioned, it's 1987, so there is no cell phones, there's no Facebook, there's no instant way to get information to people. So people are forced to be in person a lot. The way you get to places is on bikes or ask your mom to go somewhere. There is no Ubers or electric skateboards to get you someplace quick. So it's really important, like I mentioned earlier, is with those relationships and to understand the setting, because not everything we are accustomed to we're going to be able to have at our disposal. So first thing I want to do, after going over this story, is go over some of these relationship questions. And like I said, this is just to build more of what we know about each other. So to reiterate real quick, if everyone wasn't fully aware, I think age is really important when we're about to go into this. Just so you guys are on the same page of, oh, was that person in my class? Or that person's younger than me? How do I view them? Or if they're older than me, do I see them as an authoritative person or someone that I don't trust? So TK is 12.
Am I the youngest?
He is the youngest, correct. Leroy is 16. Leah is 15. Gus is 16. And Siobhan is 27. So just kind of keep that in mind when we're about to go over some of these questions in here in just a second. So first
How
we're
old
going
was Shiv again?
I'm sorry? Siobhan is 27. Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry?
I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay.
You should put that into the somebody should put that into the chat. That would make it easy on everybody who goes in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, let's go Leroy. Do you know who TK is?
I don't know him personally. I do know that he. Did you say your father owns this shop, or he works at a?
He owns the auto body shop, and it's
Yeah.
also the junkyard.
Yeah. So his dad has helped me personally because he's a little bit younger than me. I don't know how the school system is in Bangor. Is it like one school is elementary, middle school, and all, or are they all separated?
We'll say there's we'll say 1 through 6, and then there'll be another school for 7 to 12.
Okay, so I don't know of him personally, but like I've seen him at his shop because his dad's helped me fix my grandma's car a couple times. All I know is that he's from what I've seen him at the shop, he seems like a pretty nice kid.
Okay. So let's get a little more specific. So you know of him, but maybe not him personally. So we'll say, based on what you do know about his him, how would you say he differs from his family?
And you can make up something. This is it could be a rumor.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be put on the spot in just a few seconds, just so everyone's aware of that. It's gonna be like, hey, go.
I heard he doesn't really want to follow in his father's footsteps as a mechanic. Like he likes to build things, but he likes it more on the technology side, like computers and stuff like that. And since computers in this day and age are not very new, so like I heard him and his father kind of butt heads on that kind of aspect.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel that with your relationship with your parents, do they you feel like he should be doing that? Like he kind of has, I mean, from one point, right, he has kind of some privilege. He's kind of inherit one of the bigger businesses in the city, but it doesn't seem like he wants it. What do you think about that?
I'm more of do what makes you happy, man.
All right.
Peace and love, dude.
He's just love and peace, bro. Okay. Let's do.
Man, that's just like your opinion, man.
Let's do Siobhan and Gus. So Siobhan, do you know Gus?
I mean, I've probably seen him around. Gus is the one that's the explorer, right?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. So I've probably seen him around. He probably pokes his nose all over the place, looking into stuff. I probably don't know much about him though.
Okay. So let's ask this question. We'll go with. So you've seen Gus come into the bank often. We'll say by himself, which is a little odd because not too many 16-year-olds have money, so it's kind of weird they'd be coming to the bank all the time. But there's something you think you're not really sure. You haven't told anybody about it because he's still kind of just a kid. But what have you been seeing him do when he kind of like walks into the bank while you're working, like out of the corner of your eye? Like what do you think he's up to when he goes in there all the time?
I mean, he's just like curious about everything. He's always looking for something. It seems like he's looking for something to get into. So probably think of him as kind of a troublemaker.
He's stealing all the pens from the teller. All the chains on the pens are
Writing
broken.
weird stuff on the deposit slips.
Yeah.
They're secret codes, okay?
They're secret codes, yeah.
You bring Cthulhu into my bank, I'm gonna be pissed. But probably, yeah. She probably. I mean, it doesn't fit very well into her, but you know what she's doing with her life. So she probably just thinks, "Ah, here he is again, troublemaker. I don't know what he's up to."
Okay. So you get the impression that he's definitely doing something wrong, though.
I don't know if wrong's the right word, but he's definitely not somebody that I'm not happy when I see him walk into the bank. I'll just put it that.
Okay. All right. Let's do Leah and Gus. So Leah, do you know Gus?
I've seen him around school, but that's never really talked to.
Okay. Let's see. By the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at a list, and this is in the rule book of basically relationship questions. So what I'm doing is basically, do you know the person, yes or no? And then it's basically, and if you do know them, is it in a positive way or a negative way? And then there's a list, and you can actually roll a die and make it completely random, but I like to kind of just go through the list and based off of what I've kind of already heard from your characters, kind of get a little more out of it instead of being completely random. Because sometimes some of these questions aren't quite relevant based off the character, especially based off of age. Some of these questions might not apply to everyone. So you said that you know of him, not very well, but you specifically don't associate with him, obviously. So why is that? Why is it your character doesn't really go out of your way to talk to Gus?
Oh, I've always been one to be home alone, do stuff by myself.
Okay, so to kind of go one a little further, we'll say that. So you guys are roughly the same age, 15 and 16. We'll say you guys are basically in the same grade. When you guys, it's a small town. We'll get kind of the assumption that everyone's kind of been living there most of their lives. We'll say back in like 4th grade, there was something that Gus did that maybe not affected you directly, but it definitely changed your opinion about him to where you're like, I don't think I want to be around that kid. Even more so than you would other people. What is it that, what did he do to you in 4th grade? Or to someone in 4th grade?
He just seemed to be causing trouble.
Well, it was in the cafeteria, I think, is where it happened. Do you remember what he did in the cafeteria?
I think he was the one that started the food fight that day.
The food fight in 4th grade? Ooh. So maybe indirectly, you got, like, your new shirt, like, completely ruined. Maybe not, he didn't throw it, but you knew as a result of that day that you were like, I'm staying away from that kid. Okay. Let's do Gus. Do you know TK?
I know of TK. I've seen him around town and at the junkyard, obviously.
Does your character go to the junkyard often?
On occasion.
Does seem
But,
like a cool place to find weird stuff for sure. If you're going on adventures on things. Let's see. So let's say one of the times you went to the junkyard, you were basically, like everyone has continuously said, what your character is looking for trouble. You run the junkyard looking for trouble, and basically you took something. Maybe it wasn't worth a whole lot of value, but it definitely was enough to where you think TK saw you do it, but you're not quite sure. So, like you said, you know of him, but you've not really brought it up because you don't know how he would react. What was it you took, and why did you hide it? Why was it a big deal?
Oh, it was a sick old crowbar. It could have been used for a pretty cool weapon.
Okay, you get in a lot of fights. You need weapons. You fighting
Hey,
kids
man.
in school.
There's a lot of weird shit out here in Bangor.
There is like there is some weird stuff going out there. You're right. We guys are gonna find that out soon. So, so yeah. I mean, in that scenario, like, it probably wasn't much money. Like, is that something you do often? You think your character?
Hey man, if I come across something and no one's using it, there's really no one knows. It's
All right, I like it. All right, let's do TK. Do you know Leah?
Yes, I do.
Okay, in a positive way or a negative way?
Positive.
Ooh. Okay, let's see. So, as we kind of discovered from Leah, she's very quiet, keeps to herself. Usually her nose is in a book, but you will notice that you've noticed specifically she's older, so you definitely you're obviously not in class with her or anything like that. But there was something that basically just happened just recently because we're in the fall, right? So we'll say school just started, and it was like the first day of school, and we'll say you're starting at the big school, right? I mentioned earlier that it kind of separates, and you're basically at the big school. We'll say you're going in the 7th grade, and so you're basically lowest on the totem pole. She did something specific in a positive way that affected you, maybe directly or indirectly, and that really made you kind of feel at ease to be at the big school now with all the older kids that you don't really know very well. What does she do, and why did it affect you so much?
I was walking through the hallway, and a bunch of, the big jock guys, the seniors and stuff, they were going through, and they basically bumped me, and I dropped my book bag, which had all of my electronic manuals and stuff in it. And she actually came up and bent down and helped me gather up my stuff and put it back in my backpack. And then she said, "Sorry, that happened. It happens to me sometimes."
Oh, it happens. She has a backpack full of electronic manuals. Is that right?
No,
Leah?
like they knock her stuff down. You know what I'm saying? They
No,
bump
I
into
get
her
it.
and knock her books.
Okay, that was nice. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, like I said, so obviously that affects you in a positive way because you were already targeted pretty quick, and maybe rightfully so if you got you got manuals in your backpack. I don't know how normal that is, but we'll dive into that psychosis later more. We'll get into that.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I bet Siobhan does it. Siobhan's like, I got this too. You got a first edition? Oh my gosh.
Where'd you get that from?
The Dot Matrix 1984? That's the exclusive. All right, let's do Leroy and Siobhan. So, Leroy, do you know Siobhan?
Not personally, but he knows. Like, he knows who she is,
Okay. So let's do.
but he doesn't know like anything personal about her.
Gotcha. So you don't know. So you might know who her personally, like family, where she lives, or anything necessarily about that. But you do know, because it's a rumor throughout town, that she has a public feud with someone specific that is constantly going into the bank, and has to deal with basically coming in and causing issues. And like I said, it's all over town, whether it be true or not. What is it? What the heck? Who is this person? What did they do? Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? What happened?
Old man Kringle McKringleberry.
Well, that's a little difficult.
He
note to
owns
take.
a car dealership in town, and he's like basically thinks he's the 1%er, and so he should control everything in there. So and he always picks on Siobhan, like that she's always messing up his bank account and stuff like that, when really he's actually bankrupt out of his ass. And most of the town really knows that, but he likes to put on like he's not, and he's constantly like giving Siobhan a hard time. And Leroy doesn't like it because he thinks Siobhan is one fine piece of ace.
Skinny, bony, and all, huh? All right, all right.
All right. I just love when I'm looking at my notes and I say Crinkleberry.
Ace?
So
Crinkleberry?
No, Crinkleberry. Okay. So who's in the? So you're saying obviously she's in the right. He's the one that is fucking everything up.
Well, I mean, I'm just going by the rumors of what everybody else says. I'm 16 years old. I don't know anything about finances, but my grandma always says, yeah, McCringleberry doesn't have a dime to his name really, and he's buying time. So, and of course, I think Siobhan's hot, so I'm going to agree with her.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go into some questions more on the actual scenario itself, and kind of get your guys' opinion on basically the right or the book and what's going on with the town. So I'm just going to kind of go around, and you guys don't have to fully elaborate on each one of these, but just kind of give me an idea where you stand. So when it comes to J.S. Gore, the now famous author, you guys are fairly familiar with J.S. Gore. So he worked at the bookstore, and he owned the bookstore along with what was his name? It was, well, I'll think of that in a second. Sorry. So anyway, he co-owned the bookstore, and it was a small bookstore, and it wasn't anything crazy, because even in a small town like that, a bookstore is not going to get a lot of traffic. But he had a big hit, so I mean, it was a really big hit. Now it's kind of happened book-wise; it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And like I said, now they're finally making a movie. Now it's a really big deal because your town's got notice about it. So we'll start with TK. Are you a fan of J.S. Gore? Do you read his books? What do you think about the movie coming out? What's your opinion on that?
The only thing I would know about J.S. Gore is he's at the bookstore because I buy like technical manuals and stuff to like learn stuff. And I mean, his book I could care less. I'm more interested in real life stuff and how to fix stuff and put stuff together and take it apart and coding and stuff like that. But he was always nice to TK when he went in. And then when it comes to all these people coming, I mean, the only thing I'm interested in is seeing like if they bring any cool like computers or something, so I can like try to sneak and look at them and see like the newest technology that Hollywood has. That's about the only thing he cares about.
Well, there's a lot of it. A lot of trucks have been coming in and setting up giant like rig cranes and stuff like that to get shots for the movie, and they're setting up a lot by the docks too. I'm not sure if I mentioned that to you guys. So they're very much in around the dock area, which is normally very off limits. There's a lot of fishing that goes on. So in the mornings you have the kind of fish market, and everyone's bringing in the hauls of basically what they did in the morning. Usually it's very hectic though, so not a lot of people that don't work there are there. And at night they got it very much gated off and closed, so protect people's boats, fishermen boats and stuff like that. And at night it's definitely a ghost town near the docks for sure. How about Leroy? What do you think about the book Jitters and that movie that's going to be made?
What's a book?
What's a book? Well, what about a movie? You don't read books. Are you excited
I'm
about the
super
movie?
excited about this movie, and the fact of it, like, I mean, I don't even care what it's about, but I heard it's going to be badass, and I'm going to go do everything I can to try to like be an extra in the movie or something.
Okay. Like that. Okay. So how's it affecting? Still sticking with Leroy. How's it affect? Like you personally, like your parents. Like, what do your parents do? Are they affected by all these people coming in the town? Like the huge groups of like hotels being sold out and food restaurants and stuff like that are running out of food, literally.
My mom's kind of like, she works at the hotel, so she's been working long hours because of it. And my dad, he's a fisherman, so yeah, it's kind of affecting the time that he can go out and actually get fish and take it to the market and stuff like that to sell it. So he hears his mom and dad like kind of griping about it all the time, and all I'm thinking is like, man, but there's being a movie made here. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of hot movie star chicks is going to be there?
Exactly. Like, maybe I can.
So Molly Ringwald is starring in this. It's a big deal.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Molly Ringwald is in town right now.
I need some time to myself. Yeah, so like I'm trying to get my mom to tell me which like hotel room is hers and everything, and she won't.
Okay, I like it. Siobhan, how's it affect you? What do you think? Are you a reader? Do you read sci-fi or not sci-fi, but horror books or?
I mean, she's not much interested in horror. She's more sci-fi and fantasy reader. I mean, she met the author like when he was just working in the bookstore. He seemed like a nice enough guy. Doesn't really think much of it. The movie she could take or leave. Plus side is that when the bank does better, she's guaranteed a job because she's helping maintain the servers, the PCs, the machines that are running there. So all this incoming business is helping the bank, which looks good for her. So she's padding her resume.
Okay. How about Leah? What do you think about this Jitters thing that's taking the whole town over?
Hopefully it's as good as the books. We'll see.
It's never as good as the book.
I don't know. Some movies aren't as good as the book.
So has Leah read the books? Is she a fan of J.S. Gore?
She's read a couple. She's in the middle of one now.
Okay. How about Gus? How's he feel about all this?
Oh man, Gus is just obsessed with Mr. Gore's work.
That's awesome.
Back when Mr. Gore worked in the bookstore there, sometimes he would slip Gus, leads on local legends or any weird things that were going on in the town. But since his success with this new book and the movie, he hasn't really been seen anymore, and that makes him kind of upset.
Gotcha. Well, there is good news for some of you. So J.S. Gore, with all the people in town, he is doing a book signing, and you also know that right before they basically announced the movie, the bookstores had a huge overhaul. It basically bought out the 3 other stores there in the strip mall and knocked the walls down, and it's huge now. He's got props from the movies. He's got posters. He's got a little bit of everything. It's huge. It's definitely one of the biggest stores for sure, and people come from all over the place. Basically come see it, and hopefully they get to meet him and see he's still there. Like you mentioned, Gus, he's really not. He definitely doesn't work in the store anymore. He's made enough money. He doesn't have to do that, but he very much enjoys the fame. He is constantly letting people know who he is and offering to sign things even though they don't even ask him to. So some people like that. Obviously, some people are probably annoyed by that who kind of still know him for who he was. But it's a really big deal. It's very much taking over everything. And like I mentioned before, he's having a big signing coming up, and pretty much a lot of people are going to be there for many different reasons. People from all over the place. There are lines wrapped around the building to get their copy signed. And one of the things you guys have heard, though, while they've been doing all this construction in the movies, is that when you see how much space the stores used to take, the actual storefront is a lot smaller than you would think. So the back room, for example, there's a lot of space back there, probably more than would be needed for a normal bookstore. And basically, rumor around school is that he's got like a secret room back there where he keeps like stuff that he's working on, like the next big book that's coming out. And basic rumor is if you guys can maybe get a hold of that, it's worth a ton of money, right? He's worth millions at this point. But the movie's coming out and everything, so everyone has been kind of on edge and excited to want to go into the grand opening of the new bookstore for the book signing, because everyone wants to try to get an extra peek at that, because maybe that could mean something for somebody. So some other things to let you guys know. So we mentioned the docks. Like I said, it's very much a fishing city for sure. They have the lumber mill on the outside of town. It's pretty much what you think is just a normal lumber mill. There's not really much else that goes on except that most of the people go there and they spend 10, 12-hour days, and it's on the outskirts of town, slowly, basically doing some deforestation, but then obviously keep regrowing the area. There was, we'll say Siobhan would know this for sure because it was a long time ago. We'll say maybe 10, 15 years ago, before J.S. Gore got really popular and big. He used to own a store with Mr. Duvall, and not everyone now in town who knows Mr. Duvall. He's sadly he's homeless. Like he's walking around town. He's constantly saying things to him.
What was that name, Mr. Duvall?
Mr. Duvall, and here, let me show you guys a picture real quick of Mr. Duvall. Every once in a while, I'll show you guys a picture of something. Let me see. I'm going to show this on the screen too for everybody. We got Old Man Duvall. He's constantly walking around town, all kind of like talking to himself, and he's ranting and raving, and a lot of people leave him alone, honestly, because they're kind of scared of him. And like I said, but he used to be the book owner. He used to be the bookstore owner. Everyone came to him with books, and then just one day J.S. Gore started getting real famous, and he left. He stopped doing it, and he sadly no one knows where he's at, where he's sleeping. He's just kind of walking around town, and people leave him alone. Now, some of you might be friends with him. We can kind of go into that here for a second. So, like I said, Siobhan definitely knew who he was before. The kids in town don't necessarily know him, how he used to be, for sure, when he was, I guess we'll say, more sane and didn't do a lot of ravings and rantings and ravings. But what about TK? Has TK had any experience with Old Man Duvall?
So what was he before?
He used to run the bookstore. So he was kind of like your just normal-tempered kind of bookstore owner, very nice, very welcoming to people, and that's what you've been told anyway. Like I said, you don't have personal experience with it because you don't really remember him owning the store because it was a while ago.
I mean, I kind of see him walking through town muttering to himself, and I see him kind of he does tend to go back and forth in front of the junkyard several times a day.
Okay, so he's walking around a lot, pacing back and forth past the junkyard.
Yeah, muttering to himself, like you can't really understand what he's saying, and every once in a while he'll like say a word really loud, like out of nowhere, and he'll kind of gives people crazy looks and keep muttering to himself. He's kind of creepy. People tend to get out of his way when he's coming through town.
Okay. What does Gus think about Old Man Duvall?
Old Man Duvall, back when he was working at that store, he was the nicest man,
Yeah.
But one day, something happened, and it just messed him up some way.
Do you still talk to him? Are you friends with Gus? Or with Old Man Duvall?
I mean, I've tried talking to him, but he doesn't. It's like I'm not even there. He's somewhere else entirely.
Okay. How about Siobhan? Siobhan, do you have any contact with him?
I mean, not anymore. Last I saw him was when he was working for the bookstore. I mean, I've seen him since then, but I don't really have time to mess with somebody who's so clearly out of their mind.
Okay. Now, Leroy, you are very aware he is extremely nice to Bella. You notice that when he actually is anywhere near you guys or near Bella, Bella very much likes him, wagging her tail. She's not barking at him, and he almost seems, we'll say, normal. Like he'll offer to pet Bella. He'll what little food he does have on him, he tries to feed her. What's kind of, with the exception of that, what kind of has been your experience with Old Man Duvall?
Well, I used to collect comic books, and my mom, when I was really little, and my mom would take me in there to buy them, and he was always real nice to me. He'd always give me like a sucker or something as extra for buying a comic book from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really know much about him as a kid, and I knew, I kind of stopped collecting comic books and kind of went away from all that. And my mom and dad used to tell me how him and J.S. Gore actually used to be really good friends. And I see him on the street, and he started being real friendly to Bella. So I started sharing my school lunch with him. He really enjoys my mom's homemade tuna sandwich, and I noticed he would always, the half of the tuna sandwich I would give him of mine, he would actually break in half and give to Bella as well. So
Okay.
as far as I know, he's a really super nice guy, and to me, I think J.S. Gore did something. Like I think he's an asshole.
All right. Well, what do you think he did to him then? What do you think happened?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really into like the book scene or anything, so I'm not really too sure what they could have done. Maybe they were partners when they owned the bookstore, and he sold him out maybe and kicked him out. It's the only thing I could think of really. It would be something to do financially.
Okay. How about Leah? She's definitely one of our bookworms for sure. What's her experience with Amanda Ball?
Well, I haven't seen him since he left the store. I think him and his partner got into it, and I'd just seen him leave and never.
Okay. I think you cut out there for a second.
Yeah, I've never seen him come back since he left.
Okay. All right. So we talked before about the idea of the book signing. It's a real big deal. He's on the radio. He's on TV constantly talking, and basically we have a little clip here actually from the radio you guys hear in people's car where he kind of talks about basically where he gets his talking about his books and Jitters itself. So I'm gonna send it to you guys right now, and then I'll play it on the actual screen. You guys just let me know if you guys are able to hear it. Let's put it there in the chat for you. Let me know if that plays, and then I'll play it for the actual podcast for everybody here.
It's playing.
Okay. I'll play it over here.
Hello, readers, and thank you for coming. It is I, J.S. Gore. Perhaps your favorite author, perhaps not.
Yeah,
But
it's
you're
playing for
here,
me
and
too.
that's enough. One question people always ask me is about my process. How do I get these fearful ideas? And I tell them the ideas simply come to me. In the dark hours of the night, when I'm cleaning a cabinet or an attic, when I'm out for a long walk and have gotten myself lost. That's when my best ideas come to me.
Guy sounds like a
In
tool.
still, quiet times when I'm most alone.
Guy sounds creepy to me.
Well, yeah, he is. You gotta be a little creepy to write something like that, right? So, like I said, that little ad, he's been interviewed multiple times, and that was just kind of an example of one of the ones he's been doing on the radio here recently. Especially, like I said, people are very excited for the new movie
I haven't
coming
had
out.
a chance to finish listening to it yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start basically deciding where we want to go, what we want to do. So we do know a couple different things. We've heard some issues with the actual bookstore itself. Seems a little odd. We think maybe there's some hidden works back there. We know that the one thing I forgot to mention earlier as well is that when it comes to the docks, it is a little odd that they completely gate off everything at night, considering they don't gate off really anything else. You guys have maybe heard some rumors about things going down on the docks that shouldn't be, or you've heard most of you are older, so maybe high school kids are hopping the fence and doing stuff maybe they shouldn't be doing. Maybe someone like Gus is hopping over there doing things. And but yeah, with the big movie coming in town, they've very much been trying to just keep basically the restaurants open as late as possible. So a lot of the, we'll say, distraction is kind of going on downtown. There's like the bars are staying open later than normal. There's the restaurants have outdoor seating now because they've reached capacity. So that means something like the docks or maybe the bookstore, stuff like that at night is completely dead. There's no one around those areas.
To clarify to some people who maybe don't understand, and I don't know if you made this clear or not, this is set in the 1980s. So,
yes, this is 1987.
So I don't know if that was made clear or not, but that way people can understand. So my joke will be much more funny. So they're staying open until 10 at night?
Yes. But that's it. And they had to get an ordinance sign to allow that too. So so yeah, what would you guys like to do? What do you guys feel, or how do you guys personally feel about the rumors with the stuff hidden inside the store itself?
Leroy don't really care. Only thing Leroy's thinking is, if I can get his hands on a book and get into that line for the signing, maybe I can convince J.S. Gore to get me a role in that movie so I can meet Molly Ringwald.
Okay. Now, another person that might help you with that real quick, too, before you guys cut you guys off, is Franklin Grimm. Franklin Grimm is the anxious assistant of J.S. Gore, who handles all the author's day-to-day planning and events. While the movie studio's in town, the bookstore is flooded with tourists, and he has been a nervous wreck. So he's kind of constantly... he has a cell phone, which is extremely rare and odd. But he's got two of them. He's constantly flipping back and forth, and he is always on the phone and trying to plan stuff, and he seems like he is all over the place. But you do know that you definitely catch on pretty quickly, Roy.
There wouldn't be much flipping with those phones because they're the size of a brick.
Well, it has that big, huge flip thing, though, right? On the front.
Has he got like two shoulder bags with giant batteries?
Yeah, they're
on?
huge. Oh, yeah, they're huge.
And the antenna goes like 8 feet out.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to Franklin Grimm, I just know that he has been coming to my dad's garage a lot because if any of the production cars or any of the cars that take the stars back and forth from where they're staying break down, like I've noticed my dad's getting paid a lot of money to make sure things get done almost like as quick as possible, even faster than he normally could do it. So I'm kind of like mad because it's like stressing my dad out even more, and he's still not over my mom, and so he's hitting the drink a lot more when he's not working, and so I'm not a fan, and I could care less, and he's always really rude. Like if I even say hello, he basically like is super rude and like pushes me off. So like I really don't like the guy.
Okay, so we'll say it's definitely getting dark, and you guys are, like I said, the town's pretty much closed up at this point. TK, there was actually a part that was needing to be fixed up. One of the rigs, one of the cranes had one of their pieces basically break. It's one of the cranks used to basically lift the people basically up in the air like in the cage. And there's definitely no crane experts for sure in town, but your dad's basically been working on it and thinks he got it fixed. So basically you're over there to try to drop it off. So your dad sent you out and basically is like, we need you to drop this off real quick. They need it first thing in the morning.
Crane. So am I driving it, or is it
you're on your bike. So you're in
I'm riding a crane on my bike?
No. Sorry. The piece for the crane they need for the movie broke. And your dad is fixing that piece for them.
Okay, so is this like a metal hydraulic piece, or is this like an electronic piece?
It's definitely like a big gear, essentially, is what it is.
Okay, gotcha.
So you got it basically in a box. Pretty much you need two hands to carry it. It's fairly large and heavy, and he makes it clear. He's like, I need you to go take this over there. He's like, you need to take it over there right now.
My bike, because I would make deliveries like that for pieces and stuff, has like a basket on the back, so I can ride my bike and put a delivery like that on the bike back.
Okay. So we'll say kind of go through the motions here. Leroy, your Bella actually got out at night, and you were about to go to bed, and you called her to your room, and you realize she's gone. She basically slipped out. Your mom was doing the night shift. She's been basically working crazy hours at the hotel because of everything that's going on, and she wasn't paying attention, and Bella got out, and basically you're out at night. You really shouldn't be out, you know that, but I mean you're not going to let Bella out of your sight. You need to go find her for sure. So you're kind of roaming the streets as well, and you're kind of basically going the same kind of direction TK is as well. Flashlight out, basically calling for Bella, trying to find her, but at the same time not screaming because like Carson mentioned, it's that 10 o'clock curfew, so they would basically be picking you up and taking you back to your house if they found out that you were out at night.
Okay.
Siobhan, you're working the late shift at night. You're on call, and you're up till 2 a.m. basically trying to get stuff ready for the next morning because with basically everything going on in town, a lot of things are breaking faster than normal, electrical wise, because it's being put through the ringer like it's never been done before. People are constantly going through and trying to get withdrawals and basically deposits to the point where it's never handled that many transactions before in that small town. You're used to handling much smaller stuff, smart clients, and it's just a constant loop. So you've been trying to work at night to get it fixed because during the day it's so busy you're a teller up front that like to the point where you don't even get to actually work and do your normal job.
So and they just did an update too, so it makes it all that much better.
You what?
We just had an update.
Yeah, we just had an update.
Yep.
And so yeah.
And to be clear, an update back then was they manually did this to install it.
They did. If you're lucky, and if it was something you could install that way, if it wasn't just a bunch of code that you had actually changed anyway, yes.
So basically, yeah, you're leaving. You got the keys. You're obviously trusted your assistant manager. You're basically locking up, and you're kind of leaving for the night as well to go home. Pretty tired for sure because you've been out all night, but you're definitely also not the kind of person who would go to the bars and probably drink with all the other people in town,
correct,
especially with all the new people. So you definitely have the mindset of like, wow, I just worked like 14 hours. I'm going home right now. I'm
exhausted. Ready to go home.
Yeah. Leah, we will say that you literally, as cheesy as it is, you lost track of time reading a book. You got to the point where it's so busy. You normally they have like the one coffee shop in town, and you usually try to kind of disappear there and just read because you stay away from people. But now those places are packed to the brim. So you were basically at one of the hardware stores, basically, because like no one's in a freaking hardware store right now, and you just been basically sitting in the back on the floor, just reading a book, and completely lost track of time. And now got to the point where the store owners kind of walked around and basically ran into you and was like, "What the heck are you still doing here, kid? You need to get out of here." And you, like I said, you didn't even realize what time it was. So he basically is kicking you out. So it's also, like I said, late o'clock at night, and he's closing up, and you're basically heading back home as well. And your bike is out front, so you got your bike with you. But I always just kind of make the assumption, by the way, that we all have bikes, and then like you said, TK, you can kind of elaborate on what your bike has and doesn't have, if the baseball card and the spoke, that kind of stuff. We can go into that detail later if it becomes relevant.
Ooh, Siobhan just rides a bike around? That's impressive.
No, not Siobhan. No, Siobhan is walking home. Siobhan's walking. She's fine. She actually doesn't live that far at all. And she did that. She moved closer, actually, because she knew she was going to have to do a lot of night shift stuff. And the trips across town where she used to live, it was too much. So basically, she doesn't want to disturb her roommate that she lives with. So basically, she's been staying here locally, closer, so she doesn't have to wake him up in the long nights.
Okay.
Gus, you basically you are definitely one of those kids that probably been trying to get into the docks, and now that all these people are in town, you're realizing that all the focus is now off the places that you've always wanted to try to go. So there's a lot of things that basically you can now get to that you weren't able to get to before because the police don't patrol those areas anymore. There's been a lot of people that have been drinking too much and vandalism stuff just because of so many people being in town, and their focus is completely away from simple places like the hardware store, for example, where Leah was at, or near the like I said, on the outskirts of the dock, there used to be someone walking out the flashlight. That person's not there anymore. So you're kind of just roaming the night like you normally would, just essentially looking for something to do or looking for something to get into, because you know you're not going to be caught. You really don't have to worry about that whatsoever. Where you guys are right now, I mean, the street lights aren't even on. It's complete darkness. There's nothing really going on at all. So you guys are basically, like I said, you're all kind of going in different directions, but you're all definitely centered around the store. The bookstore is definitely nearby, and everything around it is completely closed. And you guys all kind of see each other from across the street and kind of glance at each other, and you all kind of have the same feeling of like, we really shouldn't be out here. And Siobhan has more of maybe the look of you kids shouldn't be out here, compared to everyone else of like, we're scared to be out here. But as you guys are basically walking down the street, including Old Man Duvall is also right around where you guys are as well. He's kind of just roaming the street.
So we're all walking. We're not riding bikes.
Well, you're riding your bike because you're actually going to the store. So you're on the store, and Leah's basically on her bike to head home, which is pretty much you guys are basically going to pass each other, essentially. She's going back home, and you're heading toward the bookstore. And so TK comes up to the door, and basically you go to knock on the door, and the door slowly opens, and lights start to flicker inside the store. And everyone can see this.
So as the door so the lights are flickering. Is it pitch black inside the store?
It's pitch black, and there was some flashing lights basically that was inside, and you can't really necessarily tell with. So all the windows are huge, just posters talking about Jitters and to get your book signed today. So you can't really see into the store itself. But basically, as you come up to the door, right before you put your hand on the handle, the door cracks open, maybe 3 inches. But you can see that basically lights, but basically everyone in that vicinity, because it's so dark, it very much, you hear some lights flicker, and you hear someone scream from inside the store.
So I see Old Man Duvall.
Yeah, you see Old Man Duvall.
And I don't see Bella with him, because that was my first thought. Is like, oh, maybe she went to go see Old Man Duvall.
So he doesn't have Bella, and he kind of gives you a look of like he was excited to see Bella, but doesn't see Bella with you.
So okay. So I kind of ask him like maybe a little nod if he did see her or something. Like, have you seen Bella?
He's. I told you when you come around, you. He's. I did. I heard her. I think I heard her. What?
Do you know where? Like which direction you heard?
He looks really confused, and he starts looking in every direction, and then all of a sudden he looks right at the store, and just starts basically grabbing at his hair, and his head, and just starts screaming.
So
okay. So I noticed the door kind of came open, so I'm thinking like, oh man, so well maybe Bella, like, she pushed her way into the bookstore or something like that. She seen the door was open, she just kind of went in there. So I start to cross the street then to go over there.
Okay, and as the door opens, so I hear a scream from inside, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so TK, he hears that, and I hear the scream, and I'm kind of like apprehensive, and I'm like, I kind of like say out loud, I'm like, hello, delivery.
Okay. So we'll stop there for just a second. How about Siobhan? What's Siobhan's going to do to this?
Well, when she hears the door open, I mean, she sees the door starts flickering before the scream. She's like, "Hey, what are you doing there?" And then she hears the scream, and she kind of heads over that direction. She's trying to figure out what's happening.
Okay.
Not particularly brave, but at the same time, she's very curious about.
Okay. So Leo, you're on your bike, and you're heading that direction, and it's so dark, you literally swerve out of the way last second to dodge Old Man Duvall, who's obviously not paying attention, and his head's down, to the point where you literally basically fall off your bike, and then you're kind of right there in front of everybody too. Like, what's your first reaction? Is it the visual seeing the lights, or you hear the sound first? Like, what's going on with Leah?
She sees the lights flickering and then hears a noise and is wondering why. I thought it was close.
That's definitely the assumption that everyone has right now, because the whole town is basically closed down, especially in this part of town. What about Gus? How's Gus think about that?
So, Gus is obviously alerted by everything that went down. He notices Mr. Duvall over there screaming, staring at the store, and he runs over and Mr. Duvall, Mr. Hall, calm down. He's trying to console him.
So Mr. Duvall basically, like I said, he's pulling at his hair, and he gets to the point where he starts like pulling at his clothes, and he starts like rip his sleeves, and like he starts just like, it's almost like he's like digging at himself, like something, like he's itching to the point where he just cannot control himself, and he actually rips off one of his sleeves, and he grabs Gus's arm, and he just looks at him. He's extremely serious. He's like, you have to make the stop. And when you look real close at his arm, you actually see all over his arm he has all these really weird markings, and it's like it looks like they don't look like tattoos. It's almost like you look in his fingernails, and it looks like he's been like digging basically like at his arm basically. And this is basically a little bit of what you see on his actual arm. Let me drop this in here for you guys.
What?
That's a butt.
Like, oh shit, mister. We need to get you some help.
And they're fresh too. They're bleeding. Like it's not like they're old worn tattoos. Like he's got them all over his arms, and he is freaking out.
I guess you kind of direct him, off to the side,
Toward the store or away from the store?
away from the store.
Okay.
Try and calm him down.
Okay. So he starts freaking out, and he basically, you take him off to the side. And he allows you to take him off to the side, but he's still freaking out and scrambling, and basically he trips backwards because he's not really paying attention. So he kind of trips over the curb and falls down. And when he falls down, his head hits the ground very hard, and you notice to the point where like, oh my god, like you're checking his head because you're like, this guy's probably bleeding. And while you're looking for his head, and he turns and looks at you, and basically his eyes are like rolled in the back of his head, like you just see like the whites of his eyes, and he is freaking out. And you hear him say Bella, and basically you hear him kind of say it under his breath, but you can definitely tell he's saying it pretty clear. And he's still shaking and scratching at himself, and basically you hear the dog bark from inside the store.
So at this time, I kind of look back and see this happen, and from what I know of Gus, he's a punk, so I think he pushed old man Duvall down.
Okay.
So I run back like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing, old man Duvall?"
Like, nah, he's hurt. We need to get him some help.
So I guess I see the claw marks on his arm and stuff, and I realize like, well, he couldn't have done all that in these last few seconds, so there's no way he actually hurt him. So well, what's going on? What's going on here? I just heard my dog bark. I heard him say Bella's name.
It's like, man, he's freaking out. He's got these markings and these open wounds all over him. He just fell. He hit his head pretty hard. I think we just need to move him out of the way and call an ambulance. Get him some help out here.
Well, we can't call an ambulance. The police will come and take us home. I got to find my dog.
What does Leah think about that?
I say we get inside the bookstore and then call the ambulance.
So as you guys are basically kind of talking back and forth with each other, is you start to hear, you definitely hear it before it happens, is a loud crack of thunder, and it starts raining very, very hard, and it definitely seems like it kind of came out of nowhere. We'll say that it, in this particular case, like, it hasn't been raining all day. Siobhan, before she goes to work, she's checking the weather, and Siobhan, you're even more curious about this because you're like, it definitely is not supposed to rain today. But it is definitely raining very hard, and Old Man Duvall, basically, he starts, like, growling. He starts, like, grinding his teeth and growling, and he very much sounds like you assume to be a dog. And basically, he kind of basically grabs your guys' arms and starts heading and kind of pulling you. So Old Man Duvall literally grabs you by your shirt, Leroy, with his teeth, and is pulling you toward basically the store. To kind
of like Bella when she plays tug of war with me. She's kind of
yes,
he's like kind of like
it's definitely a little odd that this crazy old man is doing this.
So I'm like, okay, I think we need to get him in the store and get him out of this rain, guys. Like we can't leave him out here. Then we'll do what Leah said and call from inside the store. We'll find a phone in there, and hopefully some help will come for him.
So
and
TK,
maybe
Definitely isn't right. We need to get going.
So TK, this is all kind of happening right as you're walking into the door. So as you're walking into the door, you kind of, out of the corner of your eye, you see all these different people approaching. You hear the loud scream, and then basically as you're opening the door, you also hear the loud barking of a dog. And you kind of see everyone coming up. Or you're kind of, what's your reaction to all these different people that you kind of know and don't know, all coming up on the door, kind of looking to come in too?
He's like, look, I didn't do anything. I'm just here to deliver a part. I swear they told me to deliver it here. I don't know why I'm not delivering it to the set director, over at the the place. Why I would deliver it to the store? But hey, I'm doing what my dad told me, and the part's here. And I hear a dog barking and a loud scream. And what the heck? Flickering lights. What the heck? I didn't do it.
What's Siobhan think with all these kids, and then now you got a crazy homeless person now that's basically coming up on you?
I'm guessing that I was probably closer to TK than the old man.
Yeah, they're
so I probably
basically
right. So I probably had I was flashing my light at him, when he started explaining, I'm like, it's like, well, I mean, was the door open like that? Did you open it? What the hell's going on? What's the scream from? Do you see anything in there? And I kind of almost pushed past him and kind of flashed my flashlight inside.
Okay. So you guys all kind of going in together, or someone like kind of pushing forward? Like so TK obviously looking for someone, but it's okay. So Siobhan, what are you looking for specifically going into this?
I just want to see where the scream. I want to see where the scream came from.
Okay, so you're focused on the scream. You want to know where the scream came from. So to kind of elaborate more on the scream, I mean, obviously you can't tell an exact age. Well, let's say it was like a younger girl is basically what you hear. So it sounds almost like a child scream, kind of scream, and then. Go ahead.
Like 6 to 10-year-old or younger than that?
We'll say younger than that. We'll say we'll say maybe 6 years old. Fairly young. Okay. That's a young child. Right. I mean, you don't know the exact age, but it's definitely a young kid for sure that's screaming. And then definitely sounds like a scream of complete fear or maybe even pain. Depending on your character's experience, kind of tell the difference of a kid's yell.
Probably not.
So yeah, like I said, it starts hardcore storming, and you guys all kind of slowly funnel into the store. No one has been in the store since the remodeling, so we'll say the main entrance that you guys are walking in right now was the same original main entrance as when it was the smaller store, but as you guys can see, as soon as you walk in, faintly, it's much bigger and deeper than it was, to the point where it's very, very dark. And you see many, many rows of bookcases to the point where you're not even sure how far back it goes to the left. You're walking in and you're kind of on the end of a strip mall, and you look left and you just look down and you just see endless basically bookcases.
Okay, so my question is with the flashing lights, is it the whole store flashing, or is it located at a specific area?
So it was basically the whole lights as soon as you went to walk in the door, the lights flickered in the whole place specifically. I'm sorry, not specifically. Generically, they kind of just flickered on and off, but it was
kinda
one time.
Kind of like like when a bulb, like one of those bulbs is starting to go out and they flicker on and off.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's because of. It's definitely odd because they all did it, so you're definitely peaked. Say like technology wise.
And then my question would be, because I noticed this, I kind of glanced down at the other stores. Did I notice any of the other stores doing the same thing?
Nope. No other stores did it. Only this one.
Okay, so yeah, my curiosity is piqued because what would make this store that's in a, I know, basically like it's a strip mall, so if it was, if all the rest of the lights are off and this one's flickering and they were off before, then there's something weird going on. So yeah.
Yeah. So as you guys start walking to the store, those lights actually start to flicker again, and it's very, very fast and rapid, as if like someone was literally flipping a switch on and off, like that speed. Very odd for sure. And basically, as soon as you guys take your last step into the store itself, you hear boom from outside, and it sounds like a shotgun just went off. And basically, we'll say, Leroy, you're the last one in. You're kind of helping Old Man Duvall into the room, and you look behind and you see basically a big, what would you call it? Like electrical pole, like basically explode, like the big power converter things at the very top.
Transformer.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. A transformer goes off, and the lights go out. So they're flickering like crazy, and then that exploded, and all the lights went off. So now it's basically complete pitch black in there.
Except for Siobhan's flashlight, right?
Except for the Siobhan's flashlight, yeah. So Siobhan has her flashlight out. When the lights flickered for a second, like I said, you guys got a general quick idea of what the store looked like. If you keep going straight, you can see they have tables set up and like rope off to where people can wait in line to get their book signed. You just see stacks and stacks of books. You just assume it's probably a copy of Jitters, based off of the posters and everything you saw when you came in. And then further in the back, straight back, is where they would have like where people would check out. But then to the left, you can only see so far because of the way the bookshelves were. You couldn't see all the way to the back, but you could tell it's just constant rows of bookshelves.
So
is Old Man Duvall still tugging on me and growling?
So he basically, so as soon as you come in the room and that big bang goes off, he freaks out and takes off running into the darkness toward the cashier, basically where that is.
Oh shit!
Well, when the boom happens, I freak out. Like I'm like I have no idea what just happened. So I kind of squeal a little bit and kind of what the hell?
So yeah, Leroy, you're the only person who actually saw what happened. Do you want to kind of?
So I holler out like, "No, come back!" And I guess he doesn't listen to me. So I'm like, "Great, first my dog, and now Old Man Duvall." Like, I guess I really don't want to do this. But we're gonna have to go find him.
I hear Leroy say that, and I'm like, "Old Man Duvall, what's he got to do with this?"
I don't know, man. I was out looking for my dog, and he basically pointed me to the store, and then I seen Gus, and I thought Gus was beating up an old man, so I went over to stop him, and it was Old Man Duvall laying on the ground, and he was screaming about the store, and then he started growling at me and kind of like acting like my dog, and like pulled me to the store, and as soon as we got in here, he took off running.
So is it your dog in here? I heard a dog barking.
I don't know, man. He said Bella. He grabbed me and said Bella, right as all this happened. But he had some bad scars all on his arms, and he was in bad shape, freaking out.
We need to find him. I mean, somebody's got to go look for him. Should we all go look for him? Because I mean, if he's that hurt, we need to get somebody here. Is there a phone around here?
Wait, kids. We need to call the police. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why you guys are out and about at this time of night. But we got to call the police. Something's gone wrong. What was that loud crash?
I don't know. A bunch of sparks came off the freaking telephone pole, electric lines out there. I don't know what those are.
Oh, transformer? Transformer blew up?
Oh, is that what that is?
I didn't
And
know.
I realized it's Siobhan, and I'm like,
and like of course she's like dressed for work, so like it's like a wet blouse, so that's making it even worse.
I say y'all quit being wusses and let's go find where he ran off to.
And Which did she? So like, would you take the uh, flashlight from her and start going off in that direction?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not sure she's giving up the flashlight. She's like, wait, nah, that's mine. Get your own. And,
I mean,
Backpack. He pulls it out.
What'd you say?
Said Gus has a flashlight in his backpack, so he pulls it out.
So to clarify, guys, real quick, Old Man Duval basically ran down where all the bookshelves were at. He started running that direction,
basically.
yeah. And based off of, so you used to be here before, Siobhan. We'll say that you're very aware that where the checkout is, so you can make the assumption that basically the phone, if there was one, is going to be probably back in that area where people check out.
So that's kind of where that was my.
And
next
that's a
thought.
different, like I said, but those are very different directions, right? One is straight to the back where the cash register is, or to the left, which is along that strip mall, basically going far deep. Where Duval went.
So I basically say I think the phones are probably off this way, and I start heading off towards where I think the phones are at.
Okay.
I gotta find my dog. I pull out my flashlight and start heading in the direction Mr. Duval.
And I'm guessing Leia's going that way.
I follow him. Yep. I gotta figure out where he ran off to.
And I kind of follow behind Leia because I got a bit of a crush on her.
Yeah. How about Gus? Where's Gus going?
Gus wants to find Old Man Duval, so he goes along with them.
Okay. So the four of you are going toward the bookcases, and Siobhan's heading toward the back.
So I holler back like, "Look, lady, you gonna come with us, or are you gonna try to get us arrested?"
I'm not trying to get you arrested. We just need to get the police here. Something's going on. Why would you get arrested? What have you guys been doing? Do I need to worry about what?
It's after curfew, lady.
Oh, they won't arrest you. They'll just call your parents.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be out. I'm gonna get grounded.
Oh, for good Lord, people. Fine. We'll find him, but then we're calling the police because something's going on.
Just to let everybody know, I'm allowed to be here. Like I'm making the delivery for the Hollywood people.
Do you still have that box?
Yeah, it's on me.
What's in the box?
Well, I mentioned earlier, it's big. It's like you're holding two hands to hold it.
Yeah, I know. I have it.
Okay, so you're holding it. All right.
You think maybe you should just set that down here and we'll get it back later, man?
My dad told me if I don't deliver this, I'm gonna get it. So no, I'm not letting this go.
What's your last name?
Smith.
You're Mr. Smith's boy, right? You're the one who's helped with the car last time I had to have it looked at.
Yes, sir. Or ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, correct, ma'am.
It's
It's
ma'am.
It's ma'am.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, I was like, all right, well, why don't we call your dad then?
Well, he shouldn't be driving right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
That shit just got dark, Siobhan.
We don't have time for that. Wasn't there like a blood curdling scream that came out of this place too?
Which is why I think we should get the police involved, because what are we going to do with somebody who's harming somebody else? I mean, you're a bunch of kids, and I'm certainly not set to fight somebody. But I guess you guys are continuing to walk that way, right? So I'm basically sitting there arguing with you, standing in place while you guys are walking away from me. And finally, I'm just kind of like, fine. And I start following you guys, because I guess I feel a little responsible being the only adult in the room.
Okay.
I look at TK and I'm like, dude, just put the box down. We'll blame it on Gus.
Oh, shit. And Gus is right there and hears it, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
guys.
All right, so you guys start walking.
I put the box down.
Okay, you put the box down. So, very, very dark. Like I said, the only light you guys have is from your flashlights. And so you start walking down, and like I said, the way it's designed, it's almost like, not quite a maze, but they have it to where trying to describe this without needing to show you a picture, but when you think about bookcases, right, almost like a library, the way they have them lined up, like you can't see from one end all the way to the other in the library, the way they have them set up, to kind of definitely make space, because you can see like where obviously when there's another store there, they have it like partitioned, so there's still like partial wall, so you guys can still only see so far with the way the bookcases are laid out. You start heading back in that direction. Like I said, you're not familiar with the store at all. Once you get past that main original lobby part, none of you have been to the new store since they've remodeled it. So definitely new territory for sure. You start to walk a little more, and it's very, very quiet too. The only thing you guys hear is just you basically walking around. As you're walking slowly, you maybe even a little shifty. Definitely kind of constantly keep looking behind you, look what's around you. And basically the lights flicker one more time. And when they flicker this time, you see something, basically a big black shadow, kind of run across real quick, basically in between two of the bookshelves.
I'd be like,
doesn't make much of a sound. We'll say some books fall over when that happens, but whatever that was, it didn't make much of a noise itself.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh shit!
I grabbed Leah's arm real fast and was like, "Was that a clown?"
I don't trip over my own feet and kind of fall on my own ass.
How about everyone roll a grit check for me real quick?
A grit check? Okay.
Yep.
I actually got a 6.
I rolled a 4.
I got 12.
I also
17.
rolled a 4.
17, Leah?
17.
Yes.
Wow. So Leah's not much affected by this at all. She actually kind of does the mother arm out, like when a car stops real quick. She kind of like lunges kind of in front of people, like it's okay, I got it. Siobhan, Siobhan and TK both basically essentially fall over. Like they're frightened to the point where Siobhan, maybe you fall straight back.
I tripped over my own feet. I mean,
Okay, so
she's
you trip
clumsy.
over- okay.
That's part of her failure. So
Even better.
She literally tripped
Even
over her
better.
own feet. Yeah.
TK literally falls basically to the right and like puts their arms through the bookcase and books
Well,
basically push
as
out the
she's-
side.
Basically, as she's falling, she kind of like, her arm kind of like grabs my backpack on my arm, and it causes me to go over with her.
Okay. Gus,
And
what'd you
then
get? You said a 12?
Yeah, I had 12.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, TK.
And then, like, I end up, like you said, like, putting my arm through and seeing through to the other side of the bookshelf.
Okay. Now, Leroy, you didn't fall over, but you're pretty sure it was a clown. Like that's what you saw.
Son of a bitch.
Like,
What? There was clowns.
you might have even thought you heard like a little squeak of like a clown's nose, like you've seen in a movie.
Or clown shoes.
Yeah, or clown shoe. You heard some kind of squeak. You're like, what the hell was that? Gus definitely seems to be pretty fine. Like I said, he's seen some shit too, kind of like Leah, to the point where they're like, yeah, we're good. Like, I didn't see it, so I'm not really scared of what it is yet because we don't know what's going on. So, kind of keep that in mind as you guys are killed. So, how do you guys want to handle that? Like, you keep going forward the same direction you just saw that run across in front of you? Go down a different aisle? Or...
So I'm like, what was that? Because the lights basically flashed. I was like, was that somebody running? Was that old man Duval?
He's a killer clown, man.
I say we go figure out what it was.
From the ground, I basically was like, wait, did you actually see a clown? Wait, what? What's going on with the clown?
I'm pretty sure it was a clown. Pretty sure it was a clown. I heard some squeaking, and there might have been like some like blue and yellow.
It was too fast to be a person.
Man,
Must
you
have
don't
been
know
some animal.
clowns.
So, okay, so Leah's basically like, hey guys, let's keep going. Let's go see what that was. Is that what you guys want to do?
Yeah. Keep
I mean,
going.
even if it
No
was a
sense to
clown,
stop
like
now.
for Bella and old man Duval, yeah, I'm going to, but I'm very on edge and like kind of shaking as I'm.
I'm basically keeping with the group just so we all
I-
stay together.
I stand back up and say, well, didn't you say your dog was in here? Maybe could it have been your dog? Maybe your dog just ran by. Maybe we scared your dog.
My dog ain't a clown, lady.
Well, again, did you actually see the clown? That's what I
Well,
thought.
I mean, I didn't
So,
necessarily
yeah.
see a clown, but
So, so we'll say that if you're going the direction to kind of see what that was, you kind of change directions a little bit. You're still going toward the back looking for Duval, but you basically go down a different aisle. Because like I said, there's many different aisles of books just endlessly going as far as you're aware. Basically, you guys are obviously a little shaken at this point for sure. Whether you're very shaken or not, you're definitely more on edge than you were before after seeing that. When you basically come around the corner, you're coming around the corner, and from behind, an arm, something reaches out and grabs Siobhan's shoulder.
Am I the last one in the
Yeah,
line?
we'll say you're the last one in line.
So I know everybody else is in front of me, and somebody just reached out and grabbed my shoulder. All right. I mean, I kind of yelp and kind of dart forward. Again, I'm clumsy, so I managed to trip over whoever's in front of me and kind of fall, like, kind of spin and fall again. So I'm actually looking back in the direction that whoever just grabbed me, and do I see anything?
That
As
would
I'm-
be me that you tripped over.
So I trip over you and probably pull your ass
Okay.
down again.
Yeah.
So you turn around, and basically you see Omain Duval, and he's kind of putting his hand out, and he's like, it's fine, it's okay. And he's talking normal. And it's definitely a little odd because most of you probably haven't heard him talk normal, or even if you
I
did,
have.
it was a very long time ago, perhaps.
And he didn't look like that. He looked much more sane.
So he very much is very, I will say, normal at this very second. And he reaches out and he basically puts his hand, he puts his finger up to his lips, like shh. And when you're coming around that same corner, so that happens from behind. When you're coming around the corner, we'll say, Leroy, you're first, and you look around that corner, basically right where whatever that was there. You can see, you kind of peek around slowly and shine your flashlight, and you see Bella down at the complete opposite end. We'll say maybe, I don't know, 100 feet. Like, it's very far down, like toward the other end. And you can see basically Bella, and she's looking a direction you can't see what she's looking at, but she definitely looks scared. Like, she's like whimpering and not moving. Like, very, very anxious and nervous.
I don't call out to her loudly. It's more like a very weakened, louder than a whisper, like Bella, come on, Bella, come here.
So she looks at you, and like it starts to go to move, and then but kind of like it's kind of stepping on like up and down based on her feet, and kind of like she wants to run to you, but she won't because she's like, I'm not going to move from this spot, and is looking back. Bates constantly keeps looking back at whatever she's looking at, very scared, and so she's not listening to you.
What's wrong with your dog?
I don't know, but if she won't come, I'm gonna go get her. Clown be damned.
So Mr. Duval kind of like clambers and like grabs you and kind of pulls you back and is like, no. And you hear he basically he pulls you down and kind of sits you down, like everyone needs to sit down and like listen. He's whispering to you, by the way. And all of a sudden he rolls his eyes in the back of his head and he says, Bella. And Bella basically, I mean, you can still see her in the corner of your eye because you're not taking your eye off of her, Leroy. And you're like, what the hell's going on? All of a sudden, Bella basically just completely stops what she's doing, looks perfectly normal, and basically just takes off running to where you are.
What the hell was that?
Yeah. What's going on? Well, first of all, I'm like, I grab Bella and I'm hugging on her, and then I'm like, no, what the hell did you just do?
Hold on just a second. What kind of dog is Bella?
She's a bloodhound black lab mix.
Okay. I just wanted to get a picture in my head. Thank you.
Big or mid-size? What size? I don't know what size that is. So.
A mid, like a German Shepherd, like I don't know,
Okay.
like probably like a 50-pound dog, Jeremy.
She was.
Or like
She
35,
was,
40
yeah,
pounds.
she was kind of fat. She was about 90 pounds.
Okay.
Big dog.
Gus is like trying to talk to Mr. Duval, see if he'll give any more information about, what happened to him,
And
about the strange markings.
so he starts. He basically, if you go to like touch his arms, he freaks out. And then he basically starts to kind of go back to his old ways again. He's very like incoherent. He starts definitely rambling and mumbling. But you do kind of make out that it says, "Beware the owl's gaze."
What does that mean? I mean, it's Old Man Duval, so it's just incoherent nonsense.
Yeah. He doesn't really give you an answer, but he kind of slipped back into how he was before for sure.
The owl's gaze.
But he's still petting Bella. Like when he's touching Bella, he seems like he's like it's odd that like it's almost like with his right arm he's petting Bella and he's like a normal person, but like when you're talking to him on the left side of him, he's still like shaking and like ranting and raving basically.
Okay, we found the dude. Can and your dog. Can we now go call the cops? Because like I'd like to call the cops and go home.
I tried to do that before. I basically get back up off the floor and start trying to head back towards where the phone is.
Aren't you
Where I
guys
think the phone
curious
is.
about what's over there?
Not particularly, no. Let the police officers take care of that. That's their job.
But we're here, and it's there. I'm gonna go take a look.
I want to know what's got Old Man Duval so crazy in here.
What's Leroy thinking?
Oh, for crying out loud, you kids.
I guess. Like, I mean, I got Bella, so he's like, like looks at Bella like, come on, Bella, let's go, girl.
Do you have her on a leash now?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I guess I don't know. I mean, it's up to Josh. Like,
We'll say you brought it. We'll say when you ran
out.
outside, you grabbed your leash so you can. She obviously wasn't on a leash when she got out, but you brought it with you with the purpose of leashing her up. Okay, so let's say so what is Sean? What is Siobhan's like? Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's call.
That's what she was trying to do, and she started to head off towards where the phone was, and all of a sudden, at least two of the people said, "No, we want to find out what's going on." Wouldn't listen, so they start walking off towards where the dog was at, I guess.
And TK's kind of in the middle, like he looks over at the adult walking away towards the front, and then he looks over at the other kids walking towards the thing, and he's kind of like, what do I do? Which way do I go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so basically, so back the direction you guys were, you guys know that's where, in theory, the phone would be. At least that's what you would think, Siobhan, based off of what you do know about the store. Right.
That's what I was saying. That's where I was heading, and then they started, kind of arguing back at me, like, "Well, no, we should go check this out." And then I realized that none of them are with me. One of them's frozen in place. The other, at least two of them, are heading the other way. Jeremy, were you saying now that you've got Bella on the leash, you're going to go follow them, or were you like, let's go?
I was like, I grabbed Bella. Well, I'm trying to get Bella to go out the other way, and I'll grab a hold of Old Man Duval and
trying to get him to go with me, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so you guys basically start to go back toward the front of the store, where you assume the phone would be, kind of in that direction, and you're still not quite sure what you saw. If that was Bella, if that was Old Man Duval, if there's something else, so you guys still aren't 100% sure on that. But you definitely do go toward the front of the store, and
did Old Man Duval go along with her?
He's coming with you guys.
Okay.
Still ranting and raving, and he starts digging at his arms again. You can see he's kind of, so the symbols that you saw earlier, Gus, like you can see he's starting to like carve them on his arm, like he's like making a new one basically on his arm. And in his, you can tell he's got his left hand clenched really, really tight. And it looks like something is actually in his hand. And he's holding it on like he's already shaking and clawing his arm, but his left hand is in a fist as you guys are walking, and he's kind of ranting and keeping his head down. So go ahead.
We're heading up front. So are those two heading towards the back, and the rest of us are heading up front?
So Duval is going with Leah and Gus. Sorry, I didn't clarify that. So Duval is basically wanting to go with Leah and Gus. he's definitely not wanting to leave the store. He's very
Okay.
he could tell he's following them, but more important, like it doesn't look like he's necessarily following them. It's more like he's going there on his own free will. Like he wants to go back there himself, even though he obviously hasn't expressed that.
Okay, so
That's Bella.
Okay, so
Oh, looks sad.
so I would say TK would like see Old Man Duval and the other two going, and would like be like and kind of follow off with them eventually, like back behind. But he's like behind them, like catching up. So
Okay, so Siobhan is still wanting to go, is going toward to get that phone, right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to clarify that didn't change. So you're going toward the front, and as you start to get to the front, we'll say that maybe you're going a little faster pace because you kind of just came from there and you got the light. You're a little more confident. You're an adult. You're like, I'm just gonna get this phone real quick. Whereas the rest of you are probably going a little more cautiously, I would assume, especially not knowing what the heck is going on exactly. So you guys are walking fairly slow, while Siobhan's going the opposite direction, and once again, it's very quiet again. You don't hear much of anything except just you guys breathing. And the slow, even Old Man Duval seems very quiet. Like he's shaking and clawing himself, but you don't hear him really rambling. It's very, very quiet. Siobhan's going to the front of the store. Is kind of looking around for the phone. You see copies of what you thought was going to be Jitters, and it definitely is. And you hear same thing, nothing. You're kind of on the opposite end of the store now, where you can kind of see, now you're like behind the counter. There's not much going on back there. There's like a back room. You just kind of glance your flashlight at it, and there's really nothing back there. And you're kind of just slowly looking around for the phone.
So is Leroy with us?
Leroy. Good question. Sorry, I totally missed that part. Leroy, where are you and Bella?
So yeah, he was gonna go to the front, but at the same time, he's like, kind of like, because I mean, he's not very, good with frightful things, but he also at the same time doesn't want to leave anyone behind. So he's kind of like, he's starting to go to the front, but and now he's like saying like, guys, we really can't leave them back there. Like, we need to do something. We need to either convince them to come with us, or we need to go help them.
Well, if I can just get this phone call made, then we can get the police coming, then we'll go back and pull them out of there and get them to come back to the front of the building. But let's get the phone call made.
But by the time we do all that, there was something there Bella was afraid of.
I think Bella was the one who made who went running by, and I think Bella's just probably.
She would have came to me. She wouldn't have just ran by. She would have came to me.
And Bella doesn't scream like a 6-year-old girl, guys.
Maybe there's a possum in here or something. Don't possums make screaming noises? This is the wait, stop. This is the character. Remember, she's not.
No, that's what's funny. That's what I love. Okay. That's awesome.
That's basically my response. Is like, no, like
okay.
that. Like,
cool.
Because I live in a junkyard. I know what possums sound like, and basically that's what I would say.
Okay, cool. Because I mean, again, I understood that as soon as you were starting doing, like, wait, understand it. I know that that's not what they sound like, but she does not have any idea.
Right,
she's
I understood. You were.
So she's like they don't. I mean, I always heard they're really nasty, screamy creatures. But I don't know. Did anybody find a phone? Is there a phone? Did anybody see a phone? So we're back there right now. We can see the phone or not see the phone.
So you're looking and you find the phone. And it's kind of it's on the wall. It's got the long cord on it. One of the really long cords, as if they can like walk halfway across the freaking store with the thing.
So they try to find if they got a book or something. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, I'm like, all right, well, just hurry up. We need to get back to them to make sure nothing happens to them.
Okay. So I picked the phone up.
So I'm like kind of walking to the other guys, but in the same way, I'm kind of like staying close to them to like talk. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So you pick up the phone.
And you get a dial tone.
You hear a dial tone. Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't think I'd get a dial tone.
Yeah, no, I was like, it's dead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. Okay, so I start trying to dial 911 or
Quick, what's
They
the
even
number
have
for
911.
911?
did they have 911 back then? I'm not sure they did. I guess 87 they would
Yeah,
have.
they did.
Never mind. Yeah, they would. 87.
They did.
All right. So I basically start dialing 911. Of course, it's a rotary phone.
Yeah, you have to
Oh,
spin it. Yeah.
Jesus.
So you're spinning it. So yeah, you dial 911, and it's ringing.
Okay.
It's ringing a little bit, and then you hear it pick up on the other side. And
Okay.
but you don't hear anything.
Hello? Is this the police? Hello?
Help me, please.
What? Who is this?
It's me. Please help.
Who's me? And why am I getting somebody? I try to call the police. Who is this?
Please, you have to hurry. They're gonna get me.
Okay.
Boom!
Like-
You hear a huge slam. And basically from the back of the store where everyone else is at, you hear basically a door just slam really, really loud. And you hear a dial tone again on the phone.
Shit.
I'm not going to say, but I kind of peed in real life. I wasn't expecting you to scream like that.
Oh, shit.
So, okay, how's Bella reacting to this?
Bella takes off toward Old Man Duval.
And he's like...
Yanking you along with?
Or is he up here with us towards the door?
So she takes off toward Old Man Duval, which was going with you guys.
Yeah.
And basically, Old Man Duval basically kind of perks up and starts to go that way. And you could tell, like, basically he gets down on one knee and comes up to Bella, and he basically looks at her and starts whispering to her, and she slowly starts walking. His eyes roll in the back of his head again, like it's kind of white, and you see Bella start slowly, almost like she's stalking something, like she's hunting, and slowly starts walking up the side, and Duval just kind of sitting there where he was, and the dog starts walking up
Towards him
toward
or
toward the sound.
towards the sound?
Yep.
All right. I'm like, so I basically kind of turn around and say, whatever the hell that was, the line went dead when it went off. What the hell's going on here? 911 didn't answer. Some girl answered.
So basically at this point, after I hear that slam, I'm like, hey, are you guys okay back there? I like yell back for Leia and Gus. So
Okay.
I
So
mean, did we see anything when that noise?
no, you just heard it.
Slam.
So it's definitely come from like the back right corner. You could tell where it came from. But like I said, because of the way the aisles are set up, you can't see through the bookshelves basically back in there.
Okay.
One thing I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, I completely forgot about this. Some adversity tokens. So TK and Siobhan get a adversity token from earlier when we were doing that grit check. And we'll give one to Leroy as well.
Okay, so he gets 2 because he's easygoing.
Yes. Okay. So, just to kind of let us kind of time out here for a second, if anyone wanted to go to the bathroom, get something to eat, anything like that, does anyone want to take a little 5-minute break?
yeah,
Yep.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be back.
We'll come back at we'll say 5 minutes roughly from now. I'll just you
Okay.
guys let me know when you're back. How about that?
Yup.
I'm back.
As am I.
Okay, I am back.
All right, Teresa, you good?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. How about Gus?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about Siobhan?
I think that's everyone.
Siobhan's still showing muted.
Yeah, I'm here. I muted myself though, so I was talking to Zane. But yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. So, what I kind of want to start to do going forward, we kind of set this up a little bit, is obviously something is with Duval, and Duval is, in rules terms, is a powered character. So what I want to do at this time is kind of let everyone get to take turns playing Duval. Obviously, we kind of get an idea of a little bit of his backstory and the random ramblings he does have. What he can do, if you guys have already kind of noticed, is he has zoopathy, if that's how you say that word. It's not a word I use very often. But he has the ability to read and influence the thoughts of animals. The further the distance, the greater the exertion. So what he'll do is we'll start him off with 5, basically. So charges is maybe the technical term for it, but the idea that he can use that X amount of times before he starts to get really exhausted. And like I said, this is a shared character, so everyone gets to use this character, kind of take turns of how they want to use them. So kind of going forward, you guys will make the call on what Duval will do or where Duval is going to go, based off of basically who he's around or what you guys think makes the most sense story-wise. Okay, so we'll say when it comes to Gus, so FYI, you guys can't obviously see what's in my hand, but I have a deck of cards. It's actually one of the supplements for kids on bikes, and it's the powered cards. Basically, it can be used to randomly give NPCs powers, but also gives the relationship status. So the first one I'm picking here for Gus is it's completely trusting a member of the group. So as of right now, based when it comes to Gus, that's the person that Old Man Duval is kind of trusting the most, besides Bella. We're saying Bella's one of the characters in the group. Basically, he's definitely more comfortable and basically allowed Gus to see the markings on his arm, whereas other people haven't seen that, or if they have, you guys haven't heard about it in town. When it comes to TK, he seems to be fascinated by some of the things you have on you. He's very confused at times, for sure. Like some of the stuff you have on you, or the, like, for example, that package you're holding, he's very intrigued by it. but at the same time, he was kind of still in his rambling state. So, kind of when you're playing as him, kind of give that vibe of he's very kind of confused on maybe technology or things that are something that maybe weren't in the bookstore, for example, that he's worked all these years. He definitely has the mindset of like what is going on. When Leah, when you're playing with him, he seems to be around you. At least you've noticed more, maybe not necessarily aimed at you, but you've caught on that he is definitely scared of something that's in the store, even more so than you guys are. You know now he was in there before. You knew him when you were younger, when he was at the bookstore and was basically more of his normal self. But something here is definitely affecting him more than you guys, for sure. And the fact that he's kind of gone in and out of his kind of ramblings has definitely got you specifically more aware of that than maybe the rest of the group. So when you're kind of playing him, kind of bring that out in him a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Leroy. He seems to be very protective of you. He obviously cares very much about Bella and sees how much you care about Bella as well. As you mentioned before, that you guys kind of have a relationship where you're sharing the sandwich, and I would say actual time spent, probably spent more time with you than anyone else in the group. So you kind of get the impression that when he went and pulled and stopped you when you're coming around that corner, he's basically went out of his way to pull you and stop you and tell you to stop and wait. Where you definitely kind of notice of like, wow, he actually cares for me on some level. Like, he actually won't let me get harmed. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're playing with him. And then we'll say, Siobhan, you notice, maybe they don't notice as much because they're not an adult. They're just see it, I guess they're used to it. But you notice he's a little more dexterous than you think someone his age should be. Like I say, he's fairly old. We'll say he's in his 60s at this point, and you've had parents, grandparents that you've noticed that like that he's pretty spry for someone at that age to be able to running. For example, when he jumped up and was gonna protect Leroy, or when he kind of took off running in the very beginning, that didn't seem quite right. But you did notice it, and maybe the others didn't quite catch that when they first saw it. So kind of keep that in mind when you're playing as him, that he is a little more dexterous and can do things that someone his age normally would not be able to. Okay. So once again, remind everyone, he has 5, we'll just say the word charge. He has 5 charges, essentially, for using his power to be able to speak with animals. So kind of keep that in mind, and when you want to use it, just kind of announce it like, hey, what do you guys think I want to try to use? I'm going to use his ability to talk to animals to do this, or to have Bella do that. Because obviously right now, as far as you know, Bella's the only animal in here. And obviously already has a connection with Bella. So just kind of keep that in mind going forward, that of what things can be done with Bella with using that specific power that he has.
So once he does this, like right now he's told Bella to do something, and she's like you said, she's going like in hunting mode right now.
Yep.
Like, does he stay in this state of rolled back eyes, or once he tells him what to do, is he like back to being like just standing there kind of like scratching at himself?
No, you definitely notice. You definitely probably notice more than anybody, because it's your dog and you're very fascinated. Like, what the hell is going on? He definitely seems to be kind of like in place, like doesn't like walk around. Like, it takes concentration basically.
So is he like
for him to do
three-eyed
that.
raven it or whatever?
Yeah, three-eyed raven. That's a good example. Yes, three-eyed raven. He's got a ward,
Okay,
basically.
so I need to keep in mind of possibly like if he's technically kind of controlling Bella, I need to maybe possibly protect him from, because if he can't protect himself.
That's correct. That would be a good observation.
So I'm sorry, just to clarify, when I play as him, he's confused about electronics and stuff like that, correct?
He's very fascinated by objects that seem to be even something like the phone, for example. Like, anything that is not like very, very basic technology, like, he is just not he's very fascinated by it, like distracted by it. Like, what is that? To the point where it's like, you notice like he'll be in his kind of rambling and odd state, but you'll still see him on the corner of his eye like, focused on something, like what is happening. You've kind of noticed that with, for example, like the box you're holding when Siobhan was using the phone, that you kind of caught that, and other people didn't quite catch that, of like, why is he
Well, I put the
looking at that
box down.
confused? Yeah, in the beginning. But you noticed that in the beginning, that he was very
Okay.
like interested, because the box was open, so he could see what was inside. So he was kind of
Okay.
kind of confused on like what is that thing and how is it used.
Okay, I got you.
So, okay, all right. So, you guys hear the loud slam. Leroy had to go change his pants on break, and Siobhan just had basically a creepy child's voice asking for help, and then the phone went dead. Well, the phone didn't go dead, but it has the dial tone again.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm kind of frozen. I don't know what to do at this point. Like, I'm halfway between, I guess, Leroy and wherever Leia and Gus is. Like, I can see their flashlights, kind of like the light from their flashlights, like up in the ceiling, because you know how that happens. Like, you can kind of see where the light's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a flashlight, so it's like I don't want to get too far from somebody that has a flashlight. So
All right.
All right, I guess I'm like, Bella I guess so is she heading back towards
The sound.
Gus and Leah, or so was the sound? So the sound was not near Gus and Leah. It was
Well, it was up ahead. So they were going that direction, and Bella kind of went ahead of everyone, almost in like I said, hunting mode. While
Okay, so she ran off then, basically. Like
yeah,
she's
well,
got
she
the
didn't
scent of
full run.
something.
She's going slow. She's definitely like almost like prowling, like going real slow, like almost like a fucking like lion,
But-
like in planes. kind
Okay,
of
so,
thing.
so is she ahead of Leah and Gus then, or is she
Yes.
just in front of us?
She's
Oh,
ahead
she's
of them.
actually got that far.
Well, I
So,
thought you
okay,
had-
so we're not that far apart then.
Let's say
From
you
where we
had
went
a-
back to the phone to Leah and Gus is not that far.
No,
I
it's
thought
not
you
that
said
far.
I'm confused. I thought she had a collar. Belle had a collar, a leash on her now.
yeah, she
So-
does.
But she jerked away from me
And ran
to,
over.
'cause-
Okay.
to old man Duvall. Yeah,
I missed that she jerked away. Got that. Okay.
yeah. So, okay, so I'm like, well, so I'm calling back at her, and I'm kind of walking towards her. Then, like, Bella, come back. What are you doing? There's bad stuff that way. Clowns, come on, let's go.
So she's hyper focused. She's really not listening at all, and she's still going that direction, but very slowly.
So I'm kind of like, I see her like basically sprint past me, kind of in a stalking mode, and then I guess I kind of like follow her, and then I catch up with Leia and Gus.
What's Siobhan think after that phone call?
Well, basically,
Well,
I
no
hang
one
the
else
phone up
heard it
because
too.
obviously-
No one else heard
Right,
it.
I know.
Obviously, but you.
I know. Well, basically, I hang the phone up because I'm like, obviously, it didn't work. And I kind of like, so TK's gone. He went back that way. The only person near me is the old man, Duvall.
And he's on the ground
So-
with the eyes in the back of his head.
He's sitting there, right? Or is
Yeah,
he
he's
kind of
sitting there.
standing and
No, he's
he's
sitting
sitting there? All right. And Leroy's also headed away from me. So I'm like, I basically kind of hollered at Leroy, "Hey, wait, hold on, help! If we're gonna go back there, we need to take him with us. We can't leave him here."
So I turn and I'm like, but fine. Bella's not going to go. She's not coming. Yeah. All right, man.
So I
So-
basically kind of reach over and like kind of put my hand underneath old man Duvall's arms and kind of like try to get him to stand up. I don't know if he responds at all, but I'm certainly not strong enough to lift him by myself.
So then I go on the other side, and I guess does Siobhan's like hand like touch my shoulder or anything?
Yes, it does.
Sure. She's clumsy, so
It
she
sure
manages
does.
to. Yeah.
So I kind of like jokingly like look at her like, oh man, like keep your hands to yourself, lady.
She's of course embarrassed. And I'm sorry. That was unintentional. 'Cause
Roll a
like,
charm.
completely. Who? Me or
Oh
her?
man, you're
Me or him?
Leroy.
Ah.
oh you're lucky, Sean. Only got a 9.
9. Okay, we'll give you an adversity token. But yeah, you definitely you put on some swagger for sure. And she will say, basically, Siobhan, she reacts as if like, oh, that's okay. I see what he's doing there, but didn't quite like say no way. I don't think so. That's never gonna happen either to him. So kind of left it kind of open.
Almost
Of exactly.
Probably what she would have thought was, okay, that's awful.
Flattering.
Yes, there you go. It's very flattering, but you're just a kid.
I got a 20 in charm, dude. You're lucky.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Now, this is not the gamers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Point. Yeah.
All right, so we, so what do you want to do with Duval?
I mean, I'm basically going to try to get him to his feet and get him to walk with us. You know, if he will. Will he?
Okay.
Does he
Let's
respond when we kind of try to pick him up?
Roll. Are you both throwing or just you?
Yeah, we're both doing it. I'm helping him because I knew she wouldn't be able to do it, and that's how she touched me. And as we were kind of lifting him up, that's when I tried
All
to
right.
make my move.
So let's say you're able to get him up, but then as you start to walk forward, how about both of you together roll a brawn check?
I got a 2.
I got an 11.
Okay, so adversity token there, Siobhan. Basically, you could tell she doesn't spend a lot of time going to the gym lifting weights. She definitely dropped on one side, so you kind of had to bear the weight of him. But he kind of he's not completely dead weight. Like you could tell that he was sitting down with the eyes rolled back of his head, but he's able to at least help a little bit, keep himself balanced to kind of lean on you. So he kind of leans into you then more, Leroy, and you're definitely holding the weight to the point where Siobhan basically like, oh, I can't hold this guy. There's no way. He's weighs way too much.
So I'm like, okay, just go get Gus. Go get Gus and help.
Okay. So I try to I kind of yell, Gus, where are you at? I need some help. I'm kind of ahead of him. I guess I'm walking ahead like faster than he's able to move.
Oh, he runs back.
So Gus did hear and comes.
See
Okay.
What's going on?
And you see me like I'm kind of desperately like, come on, please help bring him. If you guys are gonna go do this, we can't leave this old man behind. Who knows what might happen? So, I mean, he's having some kind of a fit again. I don't think we can leave him when he's having a fit. Might bite his own tongue off or something.
So Leah, as you're kind of walking ahead still a little bit while everyone's kind of contemplating what they're doing, and you get a little bit further ahead than everyone else. You're kind of with the dog. As you get a little closer, you feel like there's something crawling on the back of your neck.
Oh.
I reach back and try and smack my neck.
Okay, so you smack your neck, and basically you put the flashlight, look at your hand, and basically it's a dead spider. And it's much bigger than like a normal spider you see. Not a tarantula size, but it's fairly big.
Where the fuck did that come from?
So roll a grit check.
A 2.
Ooh, okay.
Oh.
So you get an adversity token as well, and you basically look at your hand and it starts to shake. And basically on your left arm, you look over and you start to just see like 4 or 5 spiders like crawling on your arm.
You okay there, man?
Who?
You. There was a lot.
Oh, sorry. I should have muted first. I was in the fridge. Sorry.
So that happens, and basically TK was heading that way anyway. And he saw Gus go back. He heard them yell for Gus, and Gus turns around and go back. So TK's coming up when she smacks the back of her head and neck, and then sees her like bring her hand up. He can't see what's going on, but he's basically coming up as all this.
You're coming up to her.
Yeah.
Okay. So you start coming up to her. How does Leah respond to that? multiple spiders
Uh,
all over her arm.
Get these things off of me.
So,
So you're kind of flailing a little bit, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay.
so what do I see?
So TK, you come up and you look, and she's flailing, and you don't see anything on her. You're kind of confused on what the heck she's doing.
So I'm like, what are you talking about? What's on you? I don't see anything.
You can't see these damn spiders on me.
What spiders? There's no spiders on you. And like I kind of like kind of grab, like she's flailing, so I like kind of like grab her wrists to be like, look, there's nothing there. To like try to calm her down and like show her there's nothing there.
Okay. Yeah. Use why don't you roll a charm?
Oh boy, that's that's gonna be great. I rolled
It'll
a
be
2.
fine.
You rolled what?
We're doing the
I rolled
two.
a 2.
All right. You also get an
Failed
adversity
everything.
token. Are you guys rolling
Well-
two-sided die? Are you flipping coins over there?
Yeah.
I
Oh.
have a D4 in charm, so
Okay.
I have a reason to only roll a 2.
I had a D8 and I still rolled a 2.
Okay, so
Okay.
so
So
obviously me doing that.
you actually kind of made it worse. So what you did is you're holding her, basically like there's nothing there, and she clearly sees it, and she basically now sees you as actually like a threat, like you're like screaming at her while she's already like terrified.
I'm not really.
And she
right?
basically jerks away from you, like to get away from you, and kind of takes a step back. And TK looks back at where Leroy and the other guys are, and he looks down, and you don't see anything.
Okay.
Like you
You
don't
what now?
see them. So where he just was, like in between the two of you when he came up to Leah, he looks back to where you guys are.
Is it like
And-
pitch black?
Yeah, it's pitch black and no one's there. And you look back at where Leah just was, and she is also not there.
Oh shit. So
How about you roll a grit check?
Awesome.
Don't roll a 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't roll a 2. I rolled a 1.
Oh my gosh! All right, so you get 2 adversity tokens. Basically, you are down on the ground. You are literally like shaking to the point where you don't know what the hell happened, and you basically put your weight on a bookcase, and the bookcase falls over. Actually, it's one of those like small like side bookcases, not like one of the really big ones. And you basically push it over, and you hear Leah scream.
Oh man.
You squished her. Good job.
So you hear that scream, and you guys obviously can tell it's not from that back corner. It's next to you. So what's you kind of got? So Gus is over there now. So Gus, how did you want to handle helping Leroy?
Well, I mean, I still have a hold of Mr. Duval, right?
Shh.
Yeah, so you're helping pick up Mr. Duval. Because Leroy's trying to pick him up, right? And then Siobhan kind of slacked and wasn't able to do it. So the two of you together got him picked up with his eyes rolling the back of his head. So you guys kind of got both on one arm, and then you're heading back where they are then?
Yeah. Say, what's going on with them? What's going on up there?
So can I hear anything, or am I just basically like in a fetal position?
You're freaking. You don't hear anybody or see anything.
So
we-
would you like at this point, like my character's screaming, like, because he's one of my fears is being alone. So not seeing anybody and feel like I'm alone, I'm like screaming like bloody murder. I am scared half to death.
So we can hear all this. We
Yeah,
can
you
hear
can hear
them
him.
though.
Yep, you can hear him.
So I look over at Gus like, what are these weirdos doing? Like,
Oh, we should go help them, I guess. Try and
Yeah.
shake
I-
'em out.
I'm basically, as soon as I hear start hearing the yelling, I scream and I basically head that way. I just beeline for it.
So Duval leans over into Gus's ear and says, "It's the owl's gaze."
The Owl's Gate. What is that, old man?
It's like, we have to destroy it.
Where is it?
I don't know where
What are you talking about?
I don't know where he keeps it.
What do you have clenched in your hand so tight?
So he's shaking it and he's opening it up slowly, basically to you, and this is what you guys see. Sorry.
That's not it. That's what made the ball.
Yeah, hold on, sorry. Alright, I put it in Discord, and I got it on the screen for people watching.
Is that...
So it's like a small rock, basically the size of his palm, and it's clenched. He opens his hand, and he shows that to him.
What is this? What is this thing?
He basically starts kind of rambling again, and he puts it in your hand and closes your fist really tight, and he says, "You will need this." And then just kind of like goes back into like ranting, and eyes roll in the back of his head again.
Oh crap. Okay. I mean, can he support himself now? Is he able to stand? Or...
He did for a second, but now his eyes are rolled basically in the back of his head again. Like because you guys are playing as him now, right? He basically is. You can tell he's controlling Bella again at this moment.
So he falls back onto my shoulder, and I'm like, "What'd you do? What happened?"
Yeah.
I mean, would I have seen this anywhere? Like,
Seen what? The symbol?
is it the symbol? Was it be like referenced in any books or
You have
anything?
seen it, like, so when you've like gone over to the docks at night, you've seen that symbol before, only once in one place, but it was on the side of like one of those big storage containers. That's on the side. Storage containers don't come there often, because like I said, it's primarily used for fishing. But every once in a while they'll have supplies and stuff come in, and especially with all the new people in town, they've been basically getting supplies via boat. So they had you saw it basically like spray painted crudely like on the side of one of those containers one night after going to the docks. But you don't know what it means. You've seen it before, but you just thought someone tagged it.
Okay. So I mean, I take it. I don't know really what I'm gonna do with it, but
Okay.
Is this, by the way, this is out of character for a minute. Is it relevant to tell the stream what the symbol actually is? They can't
Nope.
see it, I'm assuming.
No, they saw it.
Okay.
I did show it.
Okay. All right. I know if the stream could see it or not.
Yeah,
okay,
I showed
cool.
the screen, and then I'll show you guys. So you're good.
I mean, I don't know if it's relevant anyway. For all I know, you're using it for something other than what it actually is. But... Anyway, okay, go on. Moving on.
Okay, so you guys are now closer. You guys could definitely see. You can see TK. He's on the ground field. You see the bookcase falling over, and basically you can hear Leah. Basically, you can see the bookcase starting to move. So Leah, you basically roll. Let's roll a. Let's see, what would that be? Let's just do a brawn.
She didn't hear anything you said. She's
Oh, sorry. Have her roll a brawn check. So TK basically had the bookcase fall on you. Essentially, is what happened.
6.
6. You lift it up just enough to where you can get yourself out. But you definitely don't like lift it up and like move it out of your way, even though it is fairly small. But you lift it up enough to basically get your leg out, because we'll say that basically the whole thing didn't fall on you. You were able to kind of shift your weight and it fell on your leg. But you definitely do have a minor limp for sure. And you notice too when that happened, basically the moment it fell on you and you hit the ground, you aren't seeing the spiders anymore. So you definitely seem to click.
Am I over there with them now?
Yeah, we'll say you guys are now up there. You're kind of Brennan Duvall up there. You guys are going slower than normal because you got Duvall, but he's not a complete. He's kind of. I want to say he's walking, but he's kind of like he's going with you guys. He's being guided and kind of keeping his balance a little bit.
And
All right.
TK
And then-
is screaming bloody murder
Yep.
in a fetal position.
Okay, well, so I was a little bit ahead of them. Like I said, as soon as they started yelling and I heard the falling of the bookshelf, I kind of left them to go find out what the hell was happening and see what I could do to help. So I basically, kind of reach down and kind of grab his shoulder and say, "Hey, what the heck's wrong? What's wrong?" This is to TK.
Yep. So TK, you don't see anything, but you hear like real muffled.
I'm still screaming bloody murder.
Okay, well, I kind of try to pull him to where I can see his face and see if I can, are his eyes open?
My eyes are closed and I'm like bawling.
Okay,
Yeah, he's in
so I try
fetal
to
position. Yeah.
I try to kind of open his eyes, try to see if I can, take the flashlight and check to see, knocked over, got a concussion, something going on there, If do I notice anything in particular? Does it look like he's cussed?
He doesn't seem like he sees you. Like you're like shaking and looking at him. He's not acknowledging that you're holding him. Like he's not looking you. You're looking him right in the face and trying to look him in the eye, and it's like he's almost like he's blind. Like he doesn't see you.
But it's more than just being blind because he also can't apparently feel that I'm touching him either.
Yeah.
So at this point, Leah's gotten up. She's standing over there by me. I'm like, so I basically what happened? What's going on? What happened to him? What happened to you? Are you okay?
All I know is there was spiders all over me, and the next thing I know, I had a bookshelf on me.
Spiders? I mean, this bookstore's fairly new and clean. I wouldn't expect a lot of spiders. What? So wait, bookshelf fell on you? What's going on here?
That's a good question.
So
Alright, so by now, I guess Gus and Leroy have caught up.
Yeah. Everyone is kind of all standing there now. Yeah.
So if I take out this rock, I put it on TK. Does anything happen? Does it have magical properties?
Actually, yes. You put it on. Basically, you put it right on his forehead, and basically, it's almost like instantaneous. Like all of a sudden, TK opens his eyes, and you have literally Siobhan like 2 inches from your face, TK, like shaking you basically, and everyone is now magically there as far as you're concerned. It's like magic. Like what the hell?
I'm like, what? And I kind of flail and push her back, so she probably falls on her butt again.
falls on my ass again. Yep.
And I'm like, where did you go? It was just dark. What happened? Where did you all go? Where did I go? It was just dark.
Dude, we were here the whole time, man.
What do you mean? I wasn't here. There was nothing. It was just black.
What? So what was that? What was that stone you put on his head?
And I'm like I'm visibly shaking. Like my hands are shaking. My whole body's shaking.
So I don't know. It must be some kind of talisman. Old man Duval had it in his hand. Said we would need it. I've seen this symbol once before down by the docks. I don't know. Maybe we should go get more information there.
So TK looks at it and because I made deliveries, would I be down by the docks ever? Would I have seen it? Or is it kind of like?
You tell me. Would you have seen it? Do you frequent the docks often? Maybe you would have seen it. It's definitely more recent. I'll say that. Like I said, it's just more recent that they got the storage containers out there. But do you normally sneak out and try to get to the docks? Normally, kids aren't really over there, but
yeah, I do not. So I wouldn't have seen it. But is it something that maybe I've come across in manuals and stuff?
Okay, let's do a brains check.
8.
An 8. So you've seen it before vaguely. You don't remember exactly what it was. It definitely wasn't in one of your manuals. It's not something you've seen that's nonfiction, for sure, in any kind of manual you've seen. So you look at it and they're like, I think I've seen this somewhere, but I think maybe it was in something, like I said, kind of like a made-up story. It definitely doesn't.
Okay, so what I'd say is, I've seen this somewhere before, like back before the bookstore closed, like maybe in one of those book covers, like those fiction books or something.
So,
Does anybody read those kind of books?
I mean, yeah, Gus would, but I've only seen it on, the shipping container.
Okay, so I mean that's basically what my character would have been like. Does anybody read those books?
so would it have been in like fantasy fiction, science fiction, horror fiction?
Sorry,
Gosh,
say it one more time. Sorry, Siobhan, say it one more time.
Would it have been in fantasy fiction,
Well, how about you roll?
science fiction?
You roll, Rand. See if you recognize
Okay.
it.
All right. Let's see if I roll better than 13. Oh, sorry, no, that was 19.
19?
That's better.
So so TK's saying, he's like, I think I've seen this before somewhere. I think it was like a you literally look right behind TK's head and you see it on the cover of a book. It's like it's right that? You mean that? And
Wait, that's a symbol right there, isn't it? Isn't that the same symbol right there? So what book is it on?
So on the cover of the book, there's all kinds of random symbols on the book, and it seems definitely kind of random. And you pick it up, and it basically is like language of the occult, is kind of the generic name of it. And it looks like it's I guess like a encyclopedia, basically like a fiction encyclopedia on different types of like occults of the past, or like runes and stuff like that, like druids and stuff like that. Like it's got just information on a little bit of many different things, not one specific religion or cult or anything like that.
So who pulled the book out? Siobhan?
I would have thought.
Yeah, so it's right behind you, and he's like this, and like pulls it out from like where you're standing behind you.
Okay, so as she's flipping through it, I see the title, and I'm like, Runes of the Occult? Okay, is anybody else finding this starting to get a little creepy?
I always knew there was some weird shit here in Bangor.
It's a little
Weird.
weird.
Nothing weird in this town. This town is pretty solid and stayed. All these normal people, just other things. I'm saying as I'm flipping through this book of weird symbols. And
While
shit.
they're kind of looking through the book with the flashlight on it, Leroy, you notice that Bella's basically almost out of sight of you, even with your flashlight. Like she's gotten pretty far ahead and hasn't really stopped since you guys have been going up there.
So I holler back at her, and she still won't come back, I guess. And I kind of look at old man Duvall, and I see his eyes back in his head still, and I kind of starting putting two and two together. My guy's not super smart, so I'm like, all right, we need to follow Bella. So I start to like, I guess, kind of drag him. And if Gus is still kind of holding on with him, I guess I kind of am like, either he lets go or I kind of drag him with us.
I think at this point we lean him up against the wall and just let him sit.
I mean, you think he's gonna be safe here?
I mean, how do we know we're gonna be safe here?
Well, the other three people are still there, right?
You guys go ahead. I need to sit for a minute.
Okay. TK, you stay here, take care of old man Duval.
What's Leah gonna do?
I'm gonna go find out where Bella's going.
Okay.
And as they start to walk away, I'm like, well, shouldn't we figure out what this symbol is? I mean, I don't know if this book really will tell us anything. It looks like it's a nonfiction, but I mean, clearly something is special about that thing. So
Def Leppard used it on the last of their cover art on their last album.
I've never seen Def Leppard use that.
You actually have that.
on.
You have that cassette in your backpack.
So I pull it out, and I'm like, I think you need to do some more studying on your music history.
Okay. That's clearly not on any Def Leppards, but we'll go ahead and
It's completely fictional, Sean.
I know.
Okay, so we head up towards What is it, like a door in the back where it slammed?
Yeah, you get a little closer, and it's like two double doors, basically. Like, it's a very large opening door, and it's closed. And basically, Bella's right outside the door, and she's almost got like the pointer stance, like basically kind of and just frozen there, just kind of stopping there for a second, letting you guys catch up. Um,
Are there any lights on the other side? Is there anything?
It's dark. So the doors are they're just two closed doors. You can't really see light underneath or anything on the edges.
I look at Bella and I'm like, I swear, Bella, if there's clowns in there, me and you're gonna have a long talk when we get home.
All right, so we go up and we try to open the door. Is it locked or is it open?
Nope, it's open.
Well, you think we should just push it open?
Yeah. Just...
Okay. What do you think, Leah?
I say we push it open and see what's going on. This is weird.
Okay. So you slowly open the door, and you guys have a flashlight, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you got a flashlight.
Yeah, two of them, right?
You're looking around,
Yeah.
and you see a lot of storage. Obviously, books that they're keeping in the back they haven't put out yet. But then you also notice there's like multiple doors that look like abnormally old, like very old, like an old barn that's been out for that's fallen apart. And you see multiple doors kind of going down this long hallway, along with, like I said, a bunch of books like on those like push carts, basically, off to the side. More copies of Jitter, basically, waiting to be put out at any moment. And each door has basically different weird scribbles and writing on each one that you guys don't really recognize.
Doesn't this seem very large for a bookstore to you guys?
Are there any doors with the same symbol on it as the thing?
We'll say you can see like the first like two doors, and it doesn't match either one of those.
Where's Bella at this point?
Bella. So when you guys open the door, Bella's right beside you, like walking at the same pace you are.
Does she act like? Does she seem like to me that she's acting like normal now? Like just.
Yes, exactly. It's very normal. Basically, when you walk through kind of into that next room, she, like I said, we'll say normal. She's back to normal with you, and TK notices Duval's eyes basically go back to normal. And he's kind of just sitting there with you guys, looking around like, what are we going to do?
Alright, so I guess I look at Gus and I'm like, you think any of these doors have that symbol on it?
I don't know. There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, like turn around and go back to our houses and let somebody else deal with this crazy shit.
Hey, when are we gonna get another chance like this?
I don't want a chance like this.
Chance for what? That's
To meet Molly Greenwald.
For an adventure. This is real adventure.
I say we go find out if any of them doors have that symbol.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Well, what's Siobhan and TK doing? So they're doing research, right? They got the books and they're kind of going through it, and you guys see through and you start going through and you start seeing. You're flipping through and you see symbols that look similar or other ones that are related, and you kind of get to a chapter basically specifically on, basically it just says like the elders, and it kind of goes into basically lore. It's a lot of paragraph of just basically story and lore, and you see multiple different symbols, kind of explaining. You see a lot of it is in like Latin, which Siobhan you're familiar with because that was a requirement in high school back for you.
College.
But it's not
college.
okay. College, but you're obviously not very familiar with it anymore. You're pretty rusty. It's not common to read Latin, basically.
ancient Sumerian.
Maybe.
So TK is like off to the side of her, kind of looking over at the book while she's flipping through it, and he's seeing these symbols, and can't read any of the Latin, but is like kind of noticing. I don't know that like some of it. It's almost written like a manual. Like it's in the fiction center, but since he's read so many like tech manuals on like how to fix like hand radios and stuff like that, and he looks over at Siobhan and he's like, "Hey, Siobhan, this I don't know what this is about, but I mean, this is almost like a manual. It's not like a fiction book."
This stuff ain't real though. This is like stuff you see in like Cthulhu and Mythos tales.
What?
Basically,
No, like that's his
Oh,
response.
okay.
Like, what? Like what? What? Low? What?
Cthulhu.
I mean, this is the '80s, so it's not as well known back then. I mean, mainstream. My character wouldn't. So
Okay.
I'm like, I get it, what you're saying, but like, look at the way it's laid out and everything, like the chapters, and then the way everything is kind of, it's almost like a diagram. Have you seen like the diagrams for like computer specs and stuff? I mean,
Of course. I mean, yes, but. So I'm like, what's up? Is there like an index? So I actually flipped to the back just to see if there's an index.
So you're kind of So what word are you looking for in the index?
Oh, I'm looking to see if there is an index. I mean, it's mostly just because I'm like, well, it's manual. There'll be an index, which I actually don't expect. But so I flipped to the back just to see if there is an index of something.
There's not an index, but you kind of flip back where you were, and you kind of find like the chapter where all the information is in there. And you see different things in there, like you see the shadow over Innsmouth. You see kind of different passages and paragraphs kind of summarizing different previous books and fiction stuff. And like I said, you kind of skim through pretty quick. You're a pretty quick reader. And you kind of notice, you see, like I said, H.P. Lovecraft, you see that type of stuff. But then you start to come to passages where it talks about like protection symbols. And that's where you kind of see basically the same symbol that you saw. So did you, we didn't say this, I don't think, but Gus, did you give that to them?
No, I still have it.
Okay, you still have it. Okay.
so I'm like, there's the symbol, protection symbol. And look, it's like in a manual where if that happens, then I'm referencing manuals because that's what he knows. So I mean,
What? So, and you said this was in Latin, or it's in something I just don't understand? It's not even
like you can see certain passages like in English, but then you'll see like it's almost like a excerpt from like it's like a picture taken, almost like Rosetta Stone type thing, where like you see a picture of an old like scroll within that book, and it's written like in Latin. You can kind of make out like that. You can make out that it's Latin and like keywords where you'll see things like the actual like the fucking you see like the word protection, and you see stuff like that, like different like kind of keywords that kind of stand out that you recognize, but you can't read the full passage.
Okay, so to go back, I'll be like, look, there's the symbol, and then you, Siobhan, are like looking through, and you're probably like, you recognize the word for protection.
right. It's like it's referencing protection. It's like Latin, but I can't read this. It's like archaic, and it's been years since I did any Latin. Most of my Latin was just so I understood how words we use are created. So I have no idea what this is actually saying, but it's something about a protection tool or symbol or.
Real quick,
and I kind of
hold on, TK. Roll a grit check for me, Siobhan.
Me? Okay.
Yep.
12.
A 12.
Perfect roll. Yep.
So you hear TK say basically, like, do you know what you're talking about, like, at all? Like, do you seriously have any idea what you're even doing? But when you're looking at TK, he's not, you don't see his mouth saying that, but you hear TK say that to you, like, extremely down-putting, like, are you an idiot?
what?
That's so
You don't hear that, TK, but this is what Siobhan hears.
So I look at him and say, "What? Did you just say something? Like what? Repeat what you just said."
What? I just said that's the symbol, and you started talking about protection.
So this time I actually heard that.
Yeah, you heard TK. Yeah.
Okay. So I kind of shake my head and said, I swore you said something else. Sorry. Yeah, I mean it seems like a symbol of protection. I mean, you know, and I basically try to I put a little more effort in to see if I can understand any more words or understanding more of the passage, because it kind of tweaked my issue, my fear, my motivation. So, do I find anything else? Do I need to make a check?
So yeah, you keep looking. Let's do another brains check.
That's a 14.
14. You make out the word owl's gaze, like that specific phrase, but you don't see much before or after that. But it catches your eye because you've already kind of had that subconsciously in your head that you've heard it.
So I basically pointed out to him, like, this right here is talking about owl's gaze. Wasn't the old man talking about the owl's gaze?
Now, did I hear him say that? Because that was back when Gus and them were carrying him, right?
Well, it was when it was on you. Well, no, I guess you wouldn't hear it because you were still in your kind of trance state. So you did not hear that, no.
Okay, so I kind of look over. Well, I kind of glance over at him, and I'm like, well, let's ask him. Let's show him the book. Maybe he can let us know.
Okay. I mean, seems reasonable. So I basically turned to him, and of course he doesn't understand this, but I'm like, hey, can you hear me at all? I mean, can you tell me more about the owl's gaze and this symbol that you gave?
He basically completely interrupts you. He's like, the owl's gaze. And he basically stands up, grabs you both by the shirt, and starts heading the direction of where the others went.
Speed, I'm assuming.
Quickly, yes. He's like I said, yeah, very nimble. Clicks up and gets it and grabs two of you. He's like, they don't stand a chance. And so real quick, so we go back to Leroy and Leah and Gus in the other room. The door, as you guys slowly are walking past the doors, looking for that symbol on other doors, and kind of just checking out each of the different doors. You notice, like I said, it's very odd and it's very cold back there for some reason, and it's very quiet and cold, and like I said, there's no lights on back there as to be expected, kind of like the rest of the place. But you guys are walking real slow toward the back.
So I'm not even in there with that. So never mind. Go ahead.
You definitely start hearing some things behind the doors as you start to walk past them.
Are you guys hearing this stuff, man?
I thought I was hearing things for a minute. You sure that's not our imagination?
I don't know. Should we keep looking for that symbol, or just open one of these doors and see what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. This is all kind of weird. Let's open one of these doors.
Okay.
So, when you guys look behind you, you didn't hear anything, but those two double doors are now shut.
We are.
No, sorry. So Gus, Leroy, Leah, the two doors they've walked through a little bit, and when they're looking back and kind of contemplating, like, what the hell was that? They look back and those two doors are now closed. They didn't hear them closed, but they are physically closed when they're looking back now. So you guys want to approach one of those doors then?
Did one of you guys shut the doors behind us?
I was up here with you guys. I don't know why. Why are they shut?
Yeah, that's a little weird. Maybe we should check on the other.
So you guys are checking the double doors or one of the random doors?
Let's reopen the double doors.
Okay. So you walk over to the double doors, and you pull them open, and they open again.
Do we see the others coming?
Yeah, you can see them down there. You can see from a distance, basically, you can see the flashlight like coming toward you a little bit. A little kind of scattered, jumpy, because but you
Because
can't
I'm
really
like
see...
pointing
Yeah.
at the ground. I'm getting dragged. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, so like you can't see them, but you see the light coming closer to where you guys are.
Alright, so I guess maybe we should just wait until they get here before we go any farther.
That sounds like a plan to me. I really don't want to do any kind of investigating on my own. I really don't want to be here anymore. I just want to take my dog and go home. And what's behind me? There's a clown behind me.
Let's roll a grit check there, Leroy.
I got a 4.
A 4. Let's grab an adversity token, or 2 adversity tokens. And you, you are definitely hearing the sounds of clowns. Like, everyone is hearing, like, something, like, creepy and eerie, but you are definitely hearing the sounds of, like, some, like, deep maniacal type laughing from a clown, for sure. Coming from the door that's right next to you.
So are we there yet?
So, yeah, sure. So you guys now are basically coming up. You guys decided to wait, and they kind of meet you. So you guys are all kind of there in that entrance. And Jeremy's, I guess, in the back of that said group, and he's right behind him is the first door, and he hears the sound.
And he's looking at the door, or he's looking at us right now?
Well, how does he react? So his back is to it, but he hears that behind him at the door.
So I look down at Bella and I'm like, it had to be clowns. I told you.
No feed for a week. Damn dog.
So she just looks at me with her perked up ears, like, what? Like, I don't. I'm like, so I kind of turn, and at this point in time, I guess curiosity is taking over a little bit, and I reach out for the door handle of that said door.
Okay.
Oh,
So you go to open the door, and basically the door opens for you. Like, it took no effort for you to actually open the door. And the room is fully lit, and it looks kind of like it almost looks like a what do I say? Like it's a repurposed room that looks like it was made for basically storing stuff for the movie. Like they got like pieces of like the set back there, and like lighting, and like you see some movie cameras and stuff back there, and you can see like they got some stuff set up for the movie.
So I'm like, I wonder if one of Molly Woonwald's dresses is in here.
Okay.
So I look down at Bella and I'm like, and I kind of start to step.
So both of you step in that room. The rest of the group is kind of talking, not maybe paying attention because you're not making it a big deal about it. You're just kind of like walking in the room. And you guys are kind of talking to each other. I guess, Siobhan, you want to explain, I guess, what you saw and then what you guys heard?
Well, I brought the book with me, by the way. I
Okay.
had it in my hand when he grabbed us, and I had not let it go. So I basically pop it back open and say, hey guys, look, that symbol, that thing you've got in your hand. I kind of point at Gus. I'm assuming he still has it. And I like that. It's a protective symbol. And then this phrase right here means something about owl's gaze. Wasn't the old man talking about the owl's gaze earlier? Didn't I hear him say that? Like, is this protecting against the owl's gaze? The hell's the owl's gaze? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. My bad.
You're fine.
No, it's my.
That's his
He's-
character.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought you were actually
Pardon my
apologizing.
French.
Right, exactly. She's kind of, she's professional. She tries very hard to keep that true all the time.
Oh, yeah, he did say something about that. And then does Old Man Duval do anything when he hears that, or?
Well, he said something about he didn't have a chance, or you guys didn't stand a chance, which they grabbed us and ran us right up to you.
So you guys are in the midst of talking, and the corner. So I'm trying to think physically where this is at. So Leah and Gus are facing the two doors, and you three just came in the two doors. So you guys are basically talking, and Duval literally he as soon as you say Alice Gaze, he perks up again, freaks out, and he screams no, and he reaches at the door Jeremy was in, and the door slams basically right behind Leroy, and you guys are now turned around, and that door is shut. And
So can we
Leroy's
see
in there.
the light, like light coming from like the gaps in the hole?
So it's a very broken and odd barn door. It's like I said, first time Siobhan and TK have seen it, but it's definitely odd for you guys as well. Of like, what the hell? Like this place is brand new. Why is there or? It's a really old. It looks like a barn door in regards to like it's like planks of like gray like wood like it's been outside like weathered, and it's got like some of those runes carved into it. Like I said, so you can actually see like partially like through it because now the door is starting to like glow like red. So you can see like faint red light glowing from the bottom and the top and like through some of the cracks.
Wait,
All right.
did he just go in there? Where did Leroy go? Did he go inside that room? The hell is going on here?
So
Get the door back open. And I reach for the door handle.
Okay, so you reach for the door handle and it burns your hand, like to the touch, like it almost like sears your hand, like it's so hot.
Jesus, that's hot. Sorry.
So I pull out the talisman and I put it on the door. Does it do anything?
So we'll switch to Leroy real quick. So Leroy, you're in the room. When that door slams behind you, basically you turn to look at it. You look back. The room is completely different than how you just saw, and you're literally in a room full of fucking clowns. It's like the room from fucking It, like when he's in there. It's just, and they're not moving. They're just standing there, but they're very, very creepy. And yeah, so that whole room is now full of clowns.
So I guess I start like I turn back to the door, screaming and banging on it, like, "Let me out! What the hell's going on?"
So
and I guess the door handle it won't open.
So there's no door handle on the inside. You've noticed.
So.
And he's banging on the door, and you guys can hear him screaming on the other side. And you can almost like actually see him through some of the parts of the cracks because it's like basically it looks like an old worn broken door. And you can hear him screaming. And you hear that dog just barking. It is so loud. Gus pulls the talisman out and puts it on the door itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put it on the door. The light from the door goes like slowly starts to fade away. But you still hear Leroy on the other side screaming and yelling.
is it still hot to the touch?
I don't know. Did you touch the door handle?
I'm gonna try to open the door again.
So you try to open the door handle and it's burning hot.
All right, so I'm like gonna try to like slam into it to break it down to get him out.
Okay, roll brawn check for me. And while that's happening, Leah, what do you think you want to do in this situation there?
I definitely don't want to touch the door.
Okay.
Do you think she learns from other people's mistakes?
I think that they got burned, so it's smart enough to not touch it. We gotta figure out another way. There's gotta be another way in.
Okay, I rolled a 4.
You rolled a 4.
Mhm.
So you have some. Now you guys have kind of built up a little bit of adversity tokens. If you wanted to kind of look at some of the strengths that you had, or if maybe you want to try to use just your straight adversity tokens to kind of increase your score of what you actually rolled. If you guys want to start thinking about that now.
So for each adversity token, it's 1.
Correct. Unless you have, there's a strength that actually increases it by more.
Well, I have skilled electronics, but it doesn't apply to this. So
Yeah, in this case, yeah.
I'll spend 2 and make the roll a 6.
Okay. So basically, you bash the door pretty good, and you actually break part of it for sure to the point where you can like stick your hand through, like like easily. Leroy can stick his arm through as well. So it definitely seems to be an ordinary door, and you hit it pretty good. But it's not like you knocked it off its hinges or anything like that. But the wood is so old and worn that you basically do break and chip part of it away.
So
I kind of look in, and I'm like, Leroy, what's going on? Do I see the clowns?
You don't see the clowns.
So what do I see?
Well, it's complete black from what you see. The room is black. It's dark.
And I can hear him screaming, "Fucking clowns!" Right?
Did he have a flashlight with him?
He does.
Leroy has a flashlight, yes.
And still
TK
dark.
does not. So
So I'm like,
the flashlight is, so from what TK can see, he's looking in the room and sees that it's black, that it's dark in there.
it's pitch black in there, guys. Somebody help me get this door broke. It's pretty frail wood.
If I start beating the door with the talisman, what happens?
You start
Break
beating
it
the door with
down.
the talisman?
I keep
Yeah.
like
Talisman
slamming
will break.
I keep slamming my shoulder into it while he's doing that.
Okay, so let's roll a brawn check there, Gus.
While they're doing that, I'm trying to see if there's like are the hinges on our side or their side or the other side. Which way did it open?
The hinges are, it opened out, so the hinges are on the inside.
7.
7? Okay, so the talisman itself didn't seem to do much. You kind of you bruise your knuckles a little bit, kind of using your bare hand basically on it. But you did roughly about the same amount of damage as Karch, just using like your hands, like you're beating at it. So you take some more couple chips off of it, but it doesn't seem like with just using your bare hands you're going to be able to basically break this door down.
Does not seem like it, or you said it.
You don't get the impression that hitting it with just your bare hands is going to actually take this whole door down without basically hurting yourself. With, like I said, you started to bruise your hands and cut them. Same with you, TK. As you're beating on it with basically your bare hands, it's like.
Is there anything in the area we could use?
Well, so wait, I got one question real quick. Did you say that it opened to where the hinges are on the inside?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it opened in then, because otherwise it would have been on. Anyway, okay, fine. So the other thing I was going to say is, I've got prepared, so I'm gonna check in my big purse to see if I've got a pry bar. I mean, I can see having a pry bar if I'm trying to work in a cabinet and something stubborn, I can't get things out. I can
Trying to
see
break
having a
into the
small
bank
pry bar.
vault.
I mean, working on like big. I'm assuming they probably have some
Big server, computer.
right, exactly.
powers.
Some
Okay.
some like. So
Okay.
So
I'm also have prepared. So I'm looking at. I like try to open my book bag, see if I have like some kind of like pipe or something that I have from the junkyard, just randomly in my book bag that I could like beat on it with.
Okay. So, Siobhan, you basically find. Let's see. How does this work? Let's see.
like you
So
have to burn 2 adversity tokens.
Well, so we'll say you find basically what it says. The official ruling basically says like to GM's discretion. So if you guys, like you just said, the 2 type things you're looking for, that's perfectly justified. You guys find those and you happen to have them on you.
All right, so I basically take out my. It's like a little pipe, like something I would have found around, or you know what I'm saying? Just
Okay.
like threw in my bag. So it's not very big. It's only maybe like 4 feet. It's not real big because it fits in my book bag. And I take it in my hand and I start like trying to beat on the door with it, trying to like break the door more so he can get out.
Okay. Now, Leah, what do you want to do in this situation?
I was gonna look around the room and see if we could find anything, but I don't have a flashlight.
I think Gus said the same thing, so maybe the 2 of them are looking together. Like,
Okay, so you guys are basically kind
The
of in
hallway was lit, right?
the hallway wasn't lit. It was like going down deep back. You guys had flashlights. You guys were able to see some
Okay.
doors up ahead, like 2 doors. But the 2 doors you guys just came from, those doors are open right now. You guys are still kind of in that doorway because that first door was like right after the doorway. You guys are looking. Like I said, there's a roll cart that has more copies of Jitter on it. And there is one of those old school fire extinguishers, the ones that's like it's metal and it's like water basically. Essentially, is what it uses to put out a fire. So right there, that's right there on the wall near those 2 doors. Other than that, it's mostly books, unless you guys decide to go deeper down the hallway.
Let's see if we can use the fire extinguisher to bust the door open.
Okay, you gonna pick it up?
Sure.
So you pick it up. It's kind of unwieldy, and basically you and TK are both kind of just bashing at that door, to the point where like it's splintering and definitely breaking apart.
So what are the
Siobhan,
clowns at this point?
yeah, we're gonna get to the clowns. So, Siobhan, what you're trying to pry the door is what you're doing. At the same
Basically,
time
I was
while
going
they're
to try to
bashing it?
shove it in between where the opening face of it is. See if I can pry it enough to where the whatever's latching it, pop it open. See if I can
Okay.
get enough pressure on it. But I'm not very strong, so I guess I'm mid strong. I got a brawn of 8.
Okay. So, and then how did you want to do? Gus, you were just helping her basically with maybe the two of you together trying to lift that thing because that's pretty heavy.
He said, yeah.
Cut back to Leroy, and you slowly see as you kind of keep peeking back behind you. Every time you peek back, they slowly start to come toward you, while you're basically scrambling at the door to try to get out.
Okay, so well, obviously I can't get out. So I kind of
Roll another good
kinda
check
wanna-
for me.
I got a 6,
Okay.
but I have 6 adversity token.
Okay. So you want to use some of them, or you want to? So what kind of strengths? Let's see what you got real quick. You got easygoing and protective. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you can spend. We'll say you need a 10 to keep your cool, or at least not necessarily keep your cool. You're still fucking scared, but to the point where you're still able to like stand up and be able to like fucking
Do
not
something
cower.
else. I want to try to gain my composure as much as possible and try to see if I can do something with these clowns.
Okay.
So yeah, I will spend my 4.
Okay. So what do you want to try to do? So the room seems fairly small, smaller than when you remember it before, and there's maybe 20 clowns in there, but they're like mannequins basically, and it's not that they're walking and reaching out to you, it's that every time you turn around, they're like 1 or 2 feet like ahead, like they're getting closer in on you.
Oh God, are they moving when he's looking at them?
They don't move when he looks at them.
Oh God, it's the weeping angels.
Don't blink.
So I basically reach into my bag and I pull out my can of Pringles that I have with me,
Okay.
and I'm like, being a clown kind of is kind of tiring and hungry work, isn't it, guys? You guys want some Pringles?
All right, let's do a charm. We'll see what happens.
18.
18. All right, so you start throwing handfuls of Pringles out far on the ground, and the clowns don't seem to do much. But Bella takes off running back into the room, and because she fucking loves Pringles, and she thinks you're throwing them for her, basically to go eat them. And as Bella runs in, the clowns basically back up. So the clowns kind of back off as Bella is like munching down on the Pringles like halfway through the room.
Does he actually see them move now?
They
Or you're saying-
glide back basically. Like they're not walking. They just they slide back because their heads and arms aren't really moving.
So okay, so I noticed. I take it I noticed this,
Yes.
and I'm like, yeah, clowns, meet my Pringle eating attack dog. So I start throwing more. Like I'm like, please don't run out of Pringles. Please don't run out of Pringles.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
And tell it does. And then the real party starts.
So you guys are bashing on that door on the other side, and basically it does. It kind of breaks and splinters apart to the point where it actually breaks open, and the door's wide open, and everything you saw, basically, Jeremy, it goes back to being just a complete black room. You actually don't even see any of the movie stuff in there. You just see just a black room, like a small room, and you can't see far enough in to see like the back wall.
Man, I can't even get Molly Ringwald's dress.
So,
So-
like TK, since the start of the breaking, he was the first one through. He puts his arm on his shoulder, on Gus's or on Leroy's shoulder. He's like, "Hey man, you okay?"
Like, I guess he startles me, so I kind of like turn and flail real fast, and being that he's 12, I might have accidentally pushed him down or something.
Poor TK ends up on the ground even more than the clumsy woman.
You guys are like Lois Lane in Smallville. You're just like you guys falling unconscious left and right.
But I'm like, oh man, sorry, buddy, and I reach out and help him back up, and I'm like me, where'd all the clowns go? Where'd the movie equipment go?
Clowns, all I saw was a black room when I looked in here.
I kinda-
it is now.
I put both my hands on like his shoulders, and I'm like, don't mess with me, man. There were clowns in here.
So I'm saying I heard this. So Josh, given the fact that earlier I had the incident where I thought he had basically said something trying to trigger my fears, and now I'm hearing somebody who has already shown that he has a fear of clowns freaking out about something we didn't see, and earlier we heard about spiders. I'm going to say that my character might actually be starting to see that it's our fears. That's something I can roll a brains check for?
No, we'll just say you put two and two together. You got it.
Okay.
You're kind of putting
So
it together.
I basically kind of, as they're saying, I was like, wait, guys. I say, let me ask a question. Obviously, you're afraid of clowns. Talking to...
Afraid, like terrified, lady. And things are deadly.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Leah, are you potentially scared of spiders?
That's an understatement.
All right. What? Well, let's see. TJ, you got a problem with being? Oh, sorry, TK. You got a problem with being stuck in small rooms? I know that it's not this, but that's my character doesn't know that. So you got a problem with being in small rooms or in darkness or?
I don't like being alone.
Guys. This thing's messing with us. This thing is whatever's going on here. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm actually saying this out loud. But something is triggering our fears against us. Something is using our own fears against us.
Okay, so does anybody else think we should get the heck out of here?
Like I'm with you, little buddy.
Said that earlier.
Like, whoa!
I thought I talked earlier about calling the police and getting out. Whatever.
I had to find
Guys,
my dog.
But
So-
there's more doors.
So old man
Forget
Duvall kind of pushes past you guys, and he starts rubbing his hands all over the wall. Like he's rubbing his hands like up and down, almost like he's reading Braille. Like he's just like his hands are all over the place, just like rubbing along the walls inside the dark room. And he kind of disappears, and you hear Bella scratching at a wall in the darkness, but she's kind of in the back, and you can't see her from the doorway.
Wait, he was doing on what wall? The wall inside the hallway or inside the room?
In the room, he kind of pushes past you guys into the room, and he's feeling all over the wall. And Bella disappears in the dark, but you can hear her scratching something.
Okay, so I turned
he-
and I start scanning the room with my flashlight.
He disappeared into a wall. Did we see this happen?
No, up to the wall. Like he
Oh, I
pushes-
thought you said he disappeared into the wall.
No.
Like-
So he's rubbing his hands all over the wall, and so Leroy turns the flashlight over, and they're all over the walls are just runes, like everywhere, like every square inch are little tiny runes, maybe like 2 inches big, but they're just like basically carved into the wall, everywhere.
All the same, or just other?
They're
sorts
all
of
over.
kind of-
They're all different symbols, and it definitely looks like maybe like some of the language you were just studying just a little bit ago. It's not Latin or anything like that. It's definitely a whole bunch of those symbols you've seen. And he's just feeling and like rubbing his hands, like basically like putting his finger inside the grooves of all those symbols, just kind of rubbing his hands everywhere on it.
This is seriously disturbing, guys. Can we go now? Duvall, old man Duvall, what are you doing? What is this?
And he's like, must find the owl. And he just keeps rubbing his hands all over the wall.
Is the owl one of these symbols? No answer.
Gus goes over and tries to, like, calm him down, try to be civil with him, get him to tell us, where's this owl's gaze that needs to be destroyed? What is this?
So he basically looks to you, and he seems to be fairly normal for a second. And kind of, but to everyone else, he still seems like he's rambling. But to you guys, you're basically hearing him perfectly fine. And he basically says that he's like, we have to destroy the owl's gaze before he comes back.
Where is this? And who?
Gore. He's been feeding on your guys' fears since we've been in here.
So we don't hear him saying this. We only hear what...
You hear crazy rambling. Gus can actually hear him say it.
And we hear what Gus is saying back to him.
Yes.
We heard Gus say...
Gus, yes. Are you guys all walking into the room?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in there with him.
Okay.
I was in there with Leroy, so...
Okay.
Well, I looked and saw... Like, when I saw him acting in that room, I basically had walked in there to see what he was doing. And
so to be clear, I still have my pipe in, like, my hand, and I'm guessing... Siobhan still has her pry bar or whatever, and the other two would have put down the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I ask him, "Oh, how do we find this thing? Where is it? How do we get it before he comes back?"
He's like, I'm pretty sure he has it in here somewhere. We have to find it. We have to destroy it, or many more people are going to be hurt.
Gus, do you understand him? Who's he? What are you guys talking about?
You don't understand anything he's saying.
I understand. Right. I understand what Gus is saying. I don't understand what Old Man Duvall is saying. But I do understand what Gus is saying, which is why I'm like, do you understand what he's saying? And then who's he? Because he said, what do you mean he comes back or something along those lines? So I'm basically feeding off of what Gus had said, not what Old Man Duvall had said.
Okay.
Yeah, so I basically just explained, I can hear him just fine. Said Gore's bad. There's a owl's gaze, whatever that is in here. It needs to be destroyed.
Gore's bad? The author?
Yeah, that's what he's saying to me. Unless I'm going crazy too.
Really? Because Gore's always a nice guy. I mean, I've met him a couple of times.
So Duvall goes over to Siobhan and grabs her right by the shirt, like 2 inches from her face, and he's just like ranting, and he's like, but it's completely incoherent. But then Gus hears him. He's like, Gus is not a good person. He's like, where do you think he gets?
You mean Gore, not Gus?
I'm sorry. No, it's a surprise
Don't
twist.
touch that kid.
Don't surprise.
Surprise! Gus is the bad guy. Twist.
So he's basically screaming, and Gus is hearing him. He's basically saying, he's like, you can't trust Gore. He's like, anyone who's ever crossed him is either dead or ends up like me.
And I don't understand any of it. So I'm just kind of looking like, I'm like kind of pulled back. I'm a little surprised. Like, hey, whoa, hold on, man. Hold on.
What's Leroy want to do?
Well, he doesn't feel like there's any immediate danger for Bella, so he kind of like, since he's got like, Robert or Mr. Duvall's putting his hands all over this hot chick. He's like, he goes over, like, just kind of puts his hand on Mr. Duvall's, like, whoa, like, calm down, man. What's going on? What's going on?
So basically, he kind of lets go of it, like, kind of pushes Siobhan and starts like huffing, basically, like, fucking kids, and just starts like rubbing his hands basically on the wall, and he's going further into the room, going down the wall, further into the darkness, basically.
Like, I mean, I'm with Gus, man. Mr. Duvall's a good guy. I don't think he would lie, but and obviously he's using my dogs for something, so I got to stay here and protect Bella. So
So
All right.
real
Well,
quick,
I
did
see
Gus?
we help him find this thing and search the room.
Sorry, did Gus repeat what he had said to me? Like, were you trying kind of translating as he said it, or do we still not know what was said to me?
Yeah, I'd say I
Okay.
explained it.
Okay, because I was like, when he does that, like, I obviously can't understand what he's saying. I kind of freak out. But if you're then saying, no, he's not a good guy, whatever, that.
Yeah.
So as that's going on, like Leroy had a flashlight towards Bella, and I'm like with my pipe. I kind of like walk up to see what she's digging at.
Okay, so you guys, you walk toward that direction. You see, Bella's basically on her hind legs, like up in the air, basically scratching, like 4 feet up in the air, like scratching at the wall, like up higher. So she's not scratching and digging like at the ground; it's up higher, like in mid ground.
And there's symbols all over it.
There's symbols all over it, and it actually looks like there's almost like a recess in the wall.
So I'll reach out with the pipe and kind of like poke at it with the pipe.
Okay, so yeah, you hit it with the pipe, and you can actually kind of to the point where like you're touching it, but if you like put your hand like the pipe up against the wall, you can like almost trace basically like a rectangle, like a vertical rectangle, as if like that's not a solid wall right there. And then we'll say it's maybe 2 feet tall rectangle by like 1 feet wide.
Only 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of look back. Did anybody else see me do that?
Yvonne's still freaking out by the fact that Crazy Man.
Okay,
charged
so
her.
so that it's happening when like he's got a hold of you and they're trying, and Duval's doing that and Gus is explaining. So I kind of like over my shoulder, I'm like, hey guys, come here and look at this.
What'd you
Yeah.
find?
And I like push the pipe through and show him like it's almost like a false wall, or it's like I don't know. I'm gonna quote Star Trek, kind of like a, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the wall looks solid, but it's not. And I push the pipe through and show how big it is.
So, do I have any Pringles left?
You have 7 Pringles left.
All right, well,
They're
I guess I go over there with them, and I'm like, I look at Bella. I'm like, "Did you find this girl? That's a good girl." And I give her a.
Oh, okay, good. That's nice. He likes that.
I like that.
You get an adversity token for that, even though it's not a negative thing.
All right. So we go over and pull
So
this
you-
thing out.
So you can
What-
kind of feel, like if you're feeling kind of around it, you just feel around the rectangle. And Duval kind of pushes you guys out of the way, and he's like, it's here. And he's feeling along the wall, because you kind of get the impression that's what he's been feeling for. And he reaches over to Gus and basically jerks his hand and is like, open it.
Okay. So we open it. What is it?
So like so he grabs you by the wrist where you have the stone in your hand and like forces your hand like up to it. And basically what happens is like this little like these 2 doors like open basically. Like that rectangle kind of opens up to that space. And in that space you see basically it's like a little light and there is a statue of an owl. About 1.5 feet tall. And it looks like it's made of like stone.
Okay. So I guess I grab it and break it.
Okay, so you take it and throw it on the ground, and it doesn't seem to be damaged. Like it doesn't seem to chip. It seems like it would because it looks really worn and old. Like it's got like moss on it. Like it's definitely weathered. Like it's been outside. And you slam it down with all your might. What's your old brawn check for that?
Okay.
You said this thing looks like an owl. What did you say it
It's an
looks
owl.
like?
Yeah, it's like a statue of an owl, a bird.
Just
8,
Eight, you
so
said?
that explodes. You get to roll it again.
I roll again.
Yep. So FYI, guys, I don't know if I told you this earlier because I don't think it's happened. If I did, I'm sorry. If you roll basically the max number you can roll, you get to roll it again and add that number, and you can
Oh, my
explode
grit check.
infinite times.
My grit check
Last
earlier was
Was it?
full.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
that's all right. I forgot all about.
6.
6. You got a 14. So you basically throw it on the ground. You notice it doesn't take a lot of damage, but it actually like messes up the ground underneath. Like you crack like the tile of the floor you're standing on. Like that's how hard you threw it. But at the same time, it didn't damage the statue, but it actually damaged the floor. Like it broke part of the tile underneath.
So I look at, I'm like, hey, Gus. And I like, when he looks at me, I'm like, try this. And I toss my pipe to him.
Okay.
Wait. Should we be destroying this? Are we supposed to destroy this? Do we want to destroy this? What is this? This is in character.
Old man Duvall said to break it, so let's just break it.
Did he say break it?
He said it needs to be destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah, he
What's
said it needs to be
causing all this.
destroyed.
Is this the thing he was looking at?
Yeah, he was. Well, we don't know that, but it is an owl. So, the question though is that he talks about breaking the gaze of the owl. Do we need to do something specific with the eyes? So this is my character saying, wait, break the gaze. Break the gaze. Do we need to do something visual eyes? Break the eyes. Move it someplace where it's not looking at something. Cover its eyes. Do we need to do something like that? Is it more complicated than just breaking the item?
If we pick it up and we ask Old Man Duval, what's he say about?
So Old Man Duvall freaks out and he's like, "You found it!" And he's really kind of pointing it like at him, like, "Here, take it." And he flips the hot and he's like, "Don't show it! Don't point that thing at me! Are you crazy?" Which is funny coming from him. So he basically takes off his he rips part of his shirt, and, like throws it over the owl's face, and he's like, "We have to destroy this."
So how do we destroy it?
He's like, "I did." Oh, hold on. You don't hear him say that. Siobhan doesn't hear that.
That's right. I don't understand what he's saying.
Oh, so what's he? What do I hear?
So you hear that. Gus hears it.
You have to repeat it though. I don't know if
Sorry.
So
So
it has to be destroyed.
Yes.
How do we destroy it?
Oh, okay. So he's basically he's like, "I read some books a long time ago, back before the store got ruined." He's like, "We got to take it out to the docks."
Okay.
But why the docks?
Yeah, why the docks?
So he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "When this all started, he's like, it was at the docks, and that's where Gore found it. And that's where all this got started."
Okay. So yeah, I guess we have to go to the docks.
that's what he said. We have to go to the docks. What are we doing at the dock? Okay, whatever. This has gotten weird.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, at this point, she's kind of just rolling with the weirdness.
But there are 2 more doors.
I ain't going any more doors, man. Let's just do the owl thing and get out of here.
So I guess we take the owl and we start to leave.
Okay. So you guys go to exit the room. Sorry, go ahead, Leroy. What are you gonna say?
No, as we're exiting, I look at the carts full of the Jitters books, and I'm thinking in my head, autograph, Molly Ringwald on set. So I kind of just grab one and stick it in my backpack.
Okay, so you guys are sorry. Before you get to that point, so you're in that small room and you're about to exit, and as you're about to walk through the door, literally, we'll say 5 or 6 solid steel, basically like bars, come straight down in that doorway, which used to be that old, worn, broken door. And I mean, they're solid, thick steel, like 3-inch diameter bars of steel, come basically slamming down. They're very heavy.
From where?
From the top of the door. From like that top of that door frame comes down.
Okay, so I'm gonna start looking for
And you
like
hear
something like
you hear an intercom turn on. Like a really loud, piercing intercom noise. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you hear a voice. And he's like, Duval, he's like, you did very well. It's like, thank you for bringing them here to me.
What?
Well, man, I shared my tuna sandwiches with you.
So you hear, so he goes on, and he starts laughing. He's like, oh, he's like, you kids. He's like, you think you're so cute. He's like, did you really think it was going to be that easy to break the owl's gaze?
Is that old man McKingleberry?
What old man? Oh, no, the voice you hear?
Yeah, that's what Leroy said.
So the voice you recognize is what you've been hearing on the radio and advertisements lately. And it's
Okay.
Gore. And a light turns on in the room we're in also. So some lights on the ceiling that you basically not would have normally seen, they turn on. And it's kind of like a really bright light in that room. And he goes on to elaborate and says, he's like, it's been many years, Duval. I can't believe you finally came back to me like I asked. He's like, but everything seemed to go according to plan, whether you wanted it to or not. He's like, just leave the owl there, and you guys can leave freely.
So TK is hearing this, and he's looking around for the microphone or some kind of box that would have powered that door, because there has to be some kind of mechanical stuff going on to make for even for a that to come through like that.
Yeah. Well, so roll brains for me, and you can just roll brains. We'll see. We'll go from there.
13.
Okay. So because you're skilled with that type of mechanics and stuff like that, you actually you notice that when you can tell the sound's coming from the ceiling, like it's got like a speaker like built into one of the panels up above, along with those lights, and you can basically see where on the ground where that tile was broken, you can see like if you kind of look at it closely, you actually see like electrical wire running underneath the ground under that tile.
So I kind of walk up to it and like bend down and kind of like clear the rubble away and see the electrical wires. I don't know what it does, but I see it.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, I don't know if anybody sees me. I like look back to see if anybody's like looking at me or noticing what I'm doing.
I'm going to assume that when I saw you heading off towards, like with a little bit of attention, that you kind of caught my attention as you were heading off towards the floors, and I realized that you had found some wires on the floor. Kind of walk over beside you and look down.
So I'm feeling like that, and I look up at you, and then I kind of point to my ear, and I kind of point straight up to like where the lights are, and like gesture to like where I think the sound's coming from.
Well, at this point, I'm kind of more interested in the wiring itself. So I basically try to get down there and see if I can see what the wiring is. Like, is it power? I mean, or is it some type of control system?
Yeah, I guess that would be something I would know too.
Is it like, are these wires like large? Are they small gauge or large gauge? Do they look like power supply wire? Or
they definitely
wire?
look like it. They're definitely. I don't know. This is real life knowledge of being completely ignorant on wires. So we will say that based off of your character's knowledge, it looks like it's tied to the lighting system, is what you guys are looking at.
Okay.
That's running that power.
So electrical, which would be we don't want to fuck with it or get electrocuted.
I mean, I have in my backpack, I have a multi-tool, and I have a what the heck? Why did that disappear too? I'm supposed to have a set of like wire cutters, basically.
Well, I
Strippers and cutters.
I have a toolkit, so I have pliers, screwdrivers, needle nose pliers, wire cutters, electrical tape, duct tape.
Well, and so if the most of the time wire cutters are going to be insulated, so you can cut power without too much risk. But the problem is if it's just the lights, all we're going to do is turn the lights off on.
Yeah, and I mean, well, I have no idea. I mean, we kind of know. Basically, the two of us would kind of know what those are, but we don't know exactly where those are going or if they're even for the light, if they would even affect what's in the room. So I wouldn't even go for my kit because I'd be like, I just, And so basically, I look at you. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is some electrical wire. I don't know where it goes.
I don't know if we should mess with it or not. The problem is if we cut the power to the lights, it doesn't really help us. Although I guess it doesn't really hurt us. Unless maybe we make it dark enough in here where we don't. He comes in, we have maybe some advantage. Maybe it would be good to cut the lights.
I don't know. Gus turns to Old Man Duval and, asks him, like, what's going on? What's he?
I think he tricked me. He's like, he knew I'd be come here to try to get this statue.
I mean, does this statue have power?
He's like, so this statue is how he's been able to write all these so-called books over these years. He's like, he feeds on the fear of others, and as a sick, demented person, he basically videotapes it and writes basically people's greatest fears.
Now, this is something that we can't hear, only Gus can hear.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we do hear him say, does this thing have powers? And then we hear some yammering. So we would at least, I'm actually paying attention to the wire, so I would not know that. But I would assume other people might get the idea that he said something of worth to Gus.
Yeah.
I
I relay that to you guys.
Should we just assume, unless something critical is happening, like you're in fear of your life or something dangerous, you're just going to translate anything he says?
Right.
Is that a good assumption to make?
That's fair.
Okay, that'll make things easier.
So I look at Old Man Duval and I'm like, all right, there's something weird here with you, man. Like, just do your thing with Bella, and just don't hurt her. Like, can you help her find another way out possible?
Okay, so let's roll. Let's see. So what we'll do is we'll use one of the tokens. So it goes down to 4. Anybody kind of takes control of Bella, and then it's kind of up to you. What do you want Bella to try to look for or do?
Well, she would be able to like sense, like if there was like a draft coming in or something like that, she'd be able to. She with her sense of smell, she'd be able to figure that out. There's like a draft coming from any other spot in the walls.
Okay, so
I guess we got her sniffing around.
yeah,
the
so she's
walls.
sniffing around the walls, and it's kind of going around the outside perimeter, and gets back to that doorway where the bars came down, and basically sees like in the corner, like the bottom corner, almost like basically the dog would like dig basically, and kind of starts tearing away at where some of that wood that's left over from the old barn door looking that was on it right there. And starts digging and scratching basically right there. And it rips the hinge off that's on the inside. And just starts kind of ripping at it. And actually rips the hinge off. And basically Duval points over to basically that corner in the bottom left where that hinge was ripped off. And he looks at Gus and basically is like, he's like, tell your friends to look there.
Yeah, look over there.
Look there, man!
Says there's something over there. Go check it out.
So you hear on the
Look at that
intercom
light.
again, basically it's like, tick tock, tick tock. Are you guys gonna do what I ask? The police are on their way already.
Mr. Gore, I used to think you were cool.
I am cool. When this
No,
is all
you're just
done,
a
I'll give you
jerk.
my autograph.
And Molly Ringwald?
Sure, give me the stone, you give me that statue, and I will get you a date with Molly Ringwald.
So
I can make this happen. I can give any of you what you want. You know how much money and power I have?
So, at this point, TK and Siobhan have been talking, and I'm like, I don't know what this is going to do, but at this point, can it hurt? And you see me pull out like a small toolkit, and I pull out my wire cutters.
Okay, well, one of the things I stopped you from saying, what do you think what if we smash some more of the mesh more over the tiles and see if we can figure out where this runs. Maybe we can figure out where it goes.
So I look back and I'm like, Gus, can I get my pipe back?
So we're kind of going on two parallel tracks at once.
How about Leah? What's Leah want to do in this situation?
I don't know what Bella's going to look at.
Okay. So
You go and look
start,
and see where they've been pointed to.
So TK, you start bashing more tiles, basically kind of see where the cords are going. Leah goes over, and she sees basically she kind of finishes ripping off some of the wood and where that hinge was on the side, and sees wires over there, and they look different than the ones that you guys are seeing on the floor.
You guys might want to come look over here.
Okay, so both of us, I think, would probably go over and say, okay, what are you looking at? What do you see? So these things look like control wires. They look like they're thinner. Probably.
And do they go, like, kind of towards the door?
So they're basically like running up the side of the door, and they're going down. There's like, where it was, there's like a box, basically, down there where the cords are going into it. Down that bottom corner.
So we see a box?
Yeah. Like electrical
How's it
box.
closed? Is it like have a door like where you just push a button and it opens, or is it something I have to unscrew?
Something you have to unscrew.
All right.
It's like a junction box, basically. It's like a junction box down in the bottom corner.
I pull out the screwdriver set and start panel off.
Leroy.
Jenkins.
Leroy. So Gore starts whispering to you, and he's like, how about you want me to... Did you see Fast Times at Richmond High? You know, Phoebe Bates is going to be in this movie also, right?
I start to, I guess finally my slow brain starts putting everything together with what everybody said and what Siobhan has said about him using her fears. And I remember back to earlier when Bella was off by herself and she was whimpering, and I was like, you used my dog's fears against her. Screw you, old man. He's like, this thing's getting destroyed.
All right, well, you've left me no choice then, if none of you are going to budge. So you guys start going over, and you got the screwdriver out, and the lights cut out, and it's dark in that room again.
They got flashlights.
So I shine my flashlight over for them.
Okay.
And I
Still
guess
working away.
is Gus, or not Gus, but old man Duvall's he just standing there, I guess? Is he back out of his trance from...
Yeah, he's back out of his trance now. If you want him to be. I mean, yeah, Bella kind of did what she needed to do. She broke open that bottom corner, so...
Yeah. So I'm all like, you want a Pringle, Mr. Duvall?
he looks so happy because he actually has like a tear go down his face, and he said he's speaking mumbling to you, but Gus can hear him. He's like, you're the only person that's ever basically fed. You're the only person that ever given me food I haven't had to steal. And he takes it from you and eats it.
You just made him so happy.
All right, so we basically pop that thing open.
Okay.
So what I need to know is, and basically this is between me and Siobhan, since I've like I've worked on I've restored like walkie-talkies and hand radios, like basically ones that have been thrown away and fixed. Would I know more about like electronic stuff than Siobhan? Like I feel like Siobhan would know more about like computer parts and stuff, or am I mistaken?
She has a focus on computer hardware Eternals. That's true.
Okay.
She would know a little bit about control systems because think about the computer systems at the time. They were not. Some of them were microprocessors. In fact, most of them probably were at that time. But there were still a lot of pretty hinky. Yeah, there was some hinky stuff that was going on at the time. So she would have some idea. But yes, as far as control systems go, if you understood walkie-talkies, you'd probably have a better idea just because of, for example, the push-button actuator for a walkie-talkie is basically a control switch. So, but yes, you would probably have a better idea.
So I look at this, and can I determine that this controls the gate?
Let's roll some brains.
Both of us are. I mean, I'm looking
Yeah,
too.
together.
But
You're both looking together. Do both roll brains together.
I rolled a 5.
I rolled an 8.
Okay, so both of you together is 13. Between the two of you, kind of put 2 and 2 together. That you were pretty sure it's connected to the door for sure, and you can definitely make out that one of the cords is. It's basically like, what you can tell is basically.
Wait. I would have had an 8 as well because I get a +3 if it's a difficult check.
Okay, then there you go. So you definitely got it. So actually, till before you were just going to be like, yeah, you can tell it goes to the door. With that boost that you just mentioned, basically you can tell exactly which one of those wires is basically forcing the door down. So you could tell that like it dropped, but then the door itself won't lift. Basically, it's like holding it down. So it looks heavy, but something mechanical is keeping that basically from being lifted back up.
So
Basically,
and you're able to
I
find
did
that cord.
voltage meter. He figured found the one that's hot,
Yes.
and he looked
All
at it. The whole system shows that one's got it locked on, so it's turned on right now, providing power to some kind of a system that dropped and held the bars down. Makes sense.
So I'm like, guys, I don't know if this will release it, but if we pop this, we might be able to at least lift the gate up.
I cut that one, man. I think you're right. I think that's hot. That's the one holding the. You're saying that's the control system. Yeah, cut it. Cut it now. Do it.
All right, I pull out my wire cutter and I snip the wire.
Okay. So you hear like a click, basically, click, and yeah. So you hear a click.
Okay, but it doesn't go up.
It doesn't go up on its own, no.
Somebody go over there and see if you can get the bars lifted. Who's got brawn? I do not.
Come on, Gus. Let's see if we can get the hell out of here. The cops are on our way.
I'll help too.
I'll say TK is actually the strongest of you guys.
That's hilarious.
I work in a junkyard so I would be lifting heavy stuff. I'm not going to say like I'm super strong, but I would be.
That's pretty high.
12. You on steroids, kid? What are you taking?
All right, so the 3 of us roll together.
Sure. Yep.
4.
9.
2.
2.
Well, would that be considered protective? Since I'm trying to help get us out of there.
Yeah, we could. We'll say. So, what was your total before?
It was 9, but that would be +3. So.
I wouldn't say it's protective in this case, but I would say you were able to get the door up. But in this scenario, though, TK will get an adversity token still because of how poorly he rolled.
Yeah.
But the group's able to lift it. The 3 of you together are able to lift it and basically hold it up. It is heavy, but between the 3 of you, you guys are holding it up just fine.
Okay, so I take my pipe and kind of try to wedge it to where it
Ooh, very clever.
keeps the weight up so we don't have to hold it as hard.
Okay. I like it. We didn't say how big it is, but we'll say it's like a 12-inch pipe.
Yeah, that's what I was, Yeah,
Yeah,
Basically,
puts it up high enough to where we can all slide
like,
under it.
slide under it, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, guys, I don't know if that pipe will hold. I think the 3 of us should wait to go last, but let's hold it while everybody else gets under.
Yeah, everybody.
So I look at Siobhan and I'm like, ladies first.
Charm. Roll a charm.
Charm roll.
Jesus, a 7.
Oh, okay.
So as I walk by, I kind of gently, kind of smack him on the chin and say, "You're a cute kid, but not happening, buddy. Sorry."
I can charm some clowns, but I can't killer clowns, but I can't charm a bank teller.
I think that says something about. Well, she's not a bank teller. She's a tech. She's like the tech lead. She has done bank teller work, but she's really the tech lead. But yeah, so that's hilarious. It's like you've obviously got a little thing going on with the spirits of the darkness there, buddy.
Yeah.
You need to find yourself a nice goth girl, then she'd be all about it.
Golf hasn't happened yet.
That's a good point. Good point. Well, I'm sure it's happened. It's just not a thing, really. Most people probably haven't really gotten there, but I'm sure you could find somebody who's like,
A heavy metal chick. He needs to find herself a heavy metal chick. That's what it would be at that time.
All right. Do we get out of the room?
Yep. So you guys get out of the room and you hear
We get out of the store.
you hear Gore basically scream. He's like, "Give me the owl."
Snoochie boochies, dude.
So
What
basically,
did
you
you
guys
say?
start.
So do I get my pipe back or should I leave it?
That's up to you. You want to pull it out?
Yeah, I want to pull it out.
All right. Let's roll.
shit.
Let's roll flight check. Actually, everyone roll flight check because you guys are booking it out of there. You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do a flight.
Oh, God.
got
I roll a
7.
2.
4.
I got 7.
7.
So I exploded, so I get to go again.
Yep.
3. 7.
Okay. So TK, you do not get your pipe up.
That's fine.
Get an adversity token, and the others are kind of running through, but it's dark. Not everyone has a flashlight. TK, they all kind of get ahead of you because they all started to kind of take off running, and you stop to get your pipe. And you do
Hold on.
not.
Were
I
we
was the one
able
who rolled
to
the-
pull or convince Old Man Duvall to climb under it.
So Duvall is trying to squeeze out with you guys. He's going with you,
Okay.
and he's got the owl statue in his hand.
Okay. And Bella, of course, came.
Yeah, Bella came. Yep. You guys are able to get out of the room.
By the way, I'm the one who rolled the 2. Siobhan
Oh, I'm
rolled the
sorry.
2,
I thought.
not-
What did
No,
TK
I
roll?
rolled a 7. I rolled a 7.
First,
Oh, okay,
7.
I'm sorry. TK did fine. Siobhan did not do very well, so very
That's-
clumsy. Adversity
She
token.
is.
So do I get my pipe then?
I'll give you your pipe. You got it.
Okay. I just need to know if I needed to take it out of my inventory or not.
So, Siobhan basically, as everyone's starting to run out, she gets further behind and actually trips on a stack of Jitter books. They're the hardbound because hardbound comes out first. So it hit pretty good. Like you hit it and actually hurt your ankle to the point where like you definitely got slowed down as they're running out of the room or out of the whole store. They're running toward the back of the front of the store. And basically, as they're running forward, you have everyone basically makes it to the door. And basically, when you guys get to the door and make it outside, it's still hardcore raining. And you look behind and you realize Siobhan is not there. And Siobhan turns around and standing over top of her with a large fire axe is J.S. Gore.
Fire axe?
Oh,
Yeah.
yay. Why didn't you guys grab that earlier to knock down the...
And I think that's where
Then he
we'll end
wouldn't
it
have had it.
tonight. I think that's where we'll end it tonight.
Aww.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
then.
Yeah, that was
Let me ask you a question.
3 hours of streaming. That's pretty
Yeah. So what did you guys think? Do you like it? I know some of it's your first time playing Kids on Bikes, so.
It was good.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's fun.
Are we not live now?
No, we're still live. Just kind of
Okay.
talk for just a second.
I like how it like you said before, it's mainly more role playing, so it kind of takes off the pressure of having to like make attack rolls and stuff and initiative, and if you're getting crappy rolls all night, like this game's not as punishing to you if you're getting crappy rolls.
Yeah. Well, it's the opposite, right? You can use that as a positive later.
Right.
That you guys need it. So.
When it's definitely like a shared world experience, very thematic, which it's kind of a nice change from more crunchy. Like I like crunchy, a role playing game system. We all know that's me, but
Yeah.
I do like this every once in a while too. I really enjoy the more thematic, the more shared world, and kind of creating it on the fly. I've always enjoyed that too. So this is kind of a nice change.
The one thing. Go ahead.
I enjoy that it's story driven and that like we create the world. I think that's a really cool aspect of it.
Well, what was fun is the DM is like 90% of what we did was just improv on the spot, and I was able to just glance at your guys' character sheets and be able to use your fears as actually part of the story, and the weakness to Molly Ringwald, like when he walks in that room and it's like he sees like stuff for the movie set, and it's like it was obviously like a bait for him to like want to go in there because he's excited to see that, and like the room like knew that kind of thing. So it's fun to even something we just say offhand that's quick and easy. Like we said Molly Ringwald like 100 times, and that wasn't even like that wasn't any of my notes. That wasn't going into this going like, yep, Molly Ringwald will be in that. So like it's fun that you guys actually help and create that.
Well,
It'd be kind of hard to probably do that with like younger, like kids that are in their early 20s or something like that. Like Molly Ringwald's there. They'd be like, "Who the fuck's Molly Ringwald?"
Yeah. Well, it is fun too. So I've played this with Willow, and she doesn't quite get the '80s theme because I guess she doesn't have the concept of like I'll just look it up on my smartphone. Like that is kind of lost on an 8-year-old because they haven't.
Right.
So they get the kind of that innocence too of like, well, what do we do? It's like, what do you got? A pipe or something? They don't think about modern technology as their answer to things.
Well, and but they also don't have all the references either. Like to them, the idea of not being able to call somebody is kind of odd.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which is one of the interesting things about this game is that, you know, the technology that's there is like I actually before I created my character, I thought I got to go find out what she would have actually had access to at that time. Like they did have microprocessors, but it was still during the transition more than anything else. And I mean, definitely physical hardware wise, the idea of a woman working on computers and the physical part of it was not really common. That was very unusual. My mom was working on computers, but that was on the software side. And even there was some pushback against it. So very interesting.
For my character, I like the idea of like he would take broken like radios and walkie-talkies and like microwaves and stuff, and he would try to tinker with them and fix them, and he figured out how to do all that, like getting manuals from the library and stuff. And so he's really into that. And then when he found out about these new computers coming up, he started studying them, and like he's starting to look into them. So unironically, we created two characters that balance each other really well.
Well, and it's interesting because that's kind of what her background was. That's how she got interested in the computers. Computer systems and electronics were something she just like always had a fascination with. So, at some level, her backstory is kind of me to some extent. I mean, That's how come I got involved in computers, because electronics were always something fascinated me, and I tore shit up all the time just to see how it together, and they would try to put it back together, and sometimes successful and sometimes not. And so it was kind of I just used my own self at some level for the backstory, though obviously she's got some other things going on because she is female and because it is the 1987. 87? Yeah.
Also, a fun Easter egg, the voice of J.S. Gore is actually one of the co-creators of Kids on Bikes.
Yeah, I recognize the name.
Well, no, J.S. Gore is a made-up name. But
No, I'm saying I recognize. You put in your...
the name of the file. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The file name itself had the guy's name in it.
So is J.S. Gore, like, was this all, you just made this all up for us, right? Or is this something like they already had, like a...
Nope, this is all made up.
So you had this dude record this for us?
Uh-huh. Well, not you specifically. Sorry, let me clarify that.
Right.
Not you specifically, but I had this basic idea for the campaign I wrote a while ago, and it's designed for going to the library. So we wanted to have basically kids that go to the library and be like, hey, Kids on Bikes, which is why I was kind of going with the author and books theme, where we'll be in the library surrounded by books and libraries. So kind of go that route. And he was very nice to offer, like, hey, how about we record something for that? So yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, let me finish wrapping this up. We'll stop going live. Anyone who's still watching, I appreciate you staying the whole time. It was definitely a long session for sure, maybe more than what people probably expected. But in the future, they might not necessarily be as long, but of course, you can stop and join at any time. Once again, appreciate you for watching. We're going to have more videos like this in the future. Other games, Dungeons & Dragons, the craft videos, the build videos, like we kind of already talked about. But once again, thanks. It's our first live stream. Never done it before, so it's definitely new for us. And we'll definitely see you next time. Thanks.
Yay!
Yeah.